Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Everyone standing as the madness has officially begun. The first four off and running here in Dayton, Ohio. What a pass. Moncrief dropping a dime to Pinedo.
Get it to a guard if you can. Watch out, watch out.
Timeout, they turn it over. Get it back. Cranford, and he coughs it up. Unreal. Looking for some March magic right here. Moncrief at the horn, and it is over in Dayton. Alabama State has won its first ever NCAA tournament game in a thriller. This is Davis, pulls up, buries it.
Throwing the ball all over the place. Look at this finish now.
Lubin. Wow, angry flush for the Tar Heels. A masterful handle, Davis. Deep shot.
Celtics down too. It would have given
for a long time, this building, when they first moved in there, it was not a gym or an arena or anything. It was like a Walmart. And then they got filled with. Oh, wow! It ain't right if you can't do it twice.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi. Lulla. What's up, DB?
Man, how are things?
We're doing all right. We're doing okay out here. Just, I put up, I don't know if you can see behind me, besides if you can look past the cat here.
I can't, but I do like that Carolina jersey.
See, I put that up just for you.
I like that. You got good taste. Lock of the century. No, not of the century, but that was an easy one. No. We always like no sweaters, right? No doubters.
We do like a no doubter. What'd that close at? Like 4.5?
Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah, I think they covered.
I by 6 times 6 times 9
by 10 for a while.
All right. So KP so far has got the early weather report. He said it's snowing. It's definitely snowing here.
Yeah, it is.
It's weird to see snow and lightning. I doubt it gets to. I shouldn't jinx it, but I doubt it gets to what everybody says it's going to get around here. But it's some definite weird weather.
Yeah, it's weird to get the lightning and the snow at the same time. I'm not a huge fan.
How were the dogs? My youngest was a menace. Old man Biggie, he did his thing, came back in and looked at me like, what's the big deal?
Oh yeah, mine have refused to go outside yet.
Really?
Yeah, they're
they got the giant bladders.
They must either that or just more self-control than I have, because they're just not having it. They looked outside and they kind of looked at me like I would, the look that you get so mad when I give you that it like cut you in your soul.
Yeah.
That's the look the dogs gave me when I tried to get them to go outside. They're just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, you come by it honestly from they know that their dad can be a Richard head. They're well aware. They're like, yeah, he's that dude. But, it's funny though. You're not next to me, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Like for me to have only moved basically, I don't know, 190 feet in my house, I smell incredible. Like I know you're missing that, me not sitting next to you, but this is like fresh out of the shower. Like, I mean, we are, Ravi, I'm telling you. I have some new mouthwash too. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
but it's spectacular.
I will say
it's like some bougie hipster stuff, but I can't remember.
Those are the two things I definitely think of first when I think of you. I think DB, bougie hipster.
All right, fine. You even got jokes from that far away, huh? That's cool.
I mean, Very nice. Could do the close. Do you want the close-up camera? Does that make you feel better?
Is there such a thing? Because I wish I wasn't on camera.
Yeah, because I'm using like an external one, but I could pop it over if you need to see my face. You need me to be up and close.
No, I don't know. I'm good right where you're at, nice and far away.
You could see the Carolina jersey better if I switch cameras, but
no. Do you know what's funny? My eyesight is so piss poor. I can't even see what number that is.
I mean, if you had to guess what Carolina jersey I had, who do you think it would be?
Oh, it'd be the old Toutre.
It's MJ, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my guy.
So we're on to something.
But
All right. So what's Joshua got out here in Kearney?
he says absolute whiteout. So that's
Oh,
not great.
oh no. Is it coming here?
I think so. Yeah, that's why Sasha was like, "Hey, yeah, you guys have to stay home."
So I don't love that. I mean, I went with it because I mean I'm gonna listen to what she tells me to do, but I was trying to get. I don't love this.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
know. Yeah,
But I'm cool. At least I'm comfy. You know what I mean? A big basement and whatever. If I get a little squirrely or I start walking around, it's because I don't realize that I'm still at home.
now you're still on camera.
I have this little cool table. You can like swing it around to the basement and stuff. It's like,
Oh, it's like a little
ooh,
swivel.
yeah, it makes me seasick. Yeah, I'm like the cool kids now.
Not as cool as your Tar Heels though, or as Alabama State.
Yeah. So how about that? Like already we get the crazy ending. Like I feel bad for St. Francis, PA, because they controlled that thing for a good portion, and man, they couldn't play the deep ball. It's like
Yeah,
Nebraska could have used Nebraska could have used a few of those deep shots late.
So it was. Did you see everybody being like, "Oh, they got Jaden Daniels out there"? I was like, "Why is it gonna be Jaden Daniels?"
Yeah, well,
Nobody else knows the deep ball.
well, I think it had to be a brother because it was Alabama State, and
Okay.
Jaden Daniels deep ball over Jalen Hurts, and Mahomes lost. So, I, I don't know, man. I don't know why they picked Jaden Daniels.
I just, it seemed a little weird to me. I get it's an HBCU, but
Don't be a hater. All you need to know right now is that the Dodgers are winning.
I know I'm watching it. I got it on my TV right now.
Yeah, you know I do.
I figured, I'm just saying, it's like when every time a white guy comes up through college, they're like, shades of Larry Bird when they're doing his draft profile. It's like, no, he's not.
The new one is gonna be. Who's the new one gonna be? Can you have shades of Dirk or shades of Luca?
Every time there's like a tall Euro stretch four, they're like, shades of Dirk, or you get this, maybe little hefty, bigger point guard. It's like, maybe got a little Luca in him.
Hefty. Who says hefty?
The trash bag people, they say hefty.
Wimpy. I don't rock with I'm not a hefty guy. I get my trash bags from Costco, and they're pretty fantastic. So I'm a Kirkland guy.
Yeah, Kirkland's where it's at.
Yeah, it's got the little hint of lemon lime to it, and I can stretch it without it tearing, which is a travesty.
I do appreciate the strong, stretchy trash bags.
I know you're gonna find this very strange about me, but you're just gonna intentionally walk this guy? Really? Show some stones, Cubbies. It's 2 outs.
He has been just mashing against them.
Yeah, I think he likes the ballpark. I don't know.
You think there's some familiarity there?
Well, I'm not going to speculate.
I actually don't know. I assume he's played there before.
Yeah, I see. I don't want to do that. I don't really want to assume because wow, and it worked. Way to walk him. Good job, Cubbies. I don't mind Chicago.
If you guys had only spent a little more money on the rest of your lineup, you'd be all right.
Oh, okay, Shave. That's what we're on. That's fine. I mean,
I gotta get the pot shots in early since my team won't spend any money.
Yeah, when you
Apparently
guys
none of my teams are just gonna spend any money, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't know what the 49ers plan is, but I can't wait to hear it. When do you think they're gonna unveil that?
I don't know that they are. I think they're just gonna pretend like they know what they're doing and pretend like they're not drunk at the wheel. So that's fun.
Hey, I have a question, a technical question. Since I've yet to hear from Shane, will we be able to hear intro and outro music?
I believe he can play the bumps, yeah. And then we'll have our commercials, and then that's about it.
Yeah, because he said 90-second intro, and I'm like, when does that start? Because I didn't hear one thing. Did you hear the intro?
I heard the intro, yeah.
I wonder why I couldn't.
I don't know. Do you want me to give you like thumbs up, thumbs down when we're going?
Yeah, because I think I should be able to hear that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, somebody needs to fix that on my end because I couldn't hear a thing.
Kobe, I understand that the fan may have aided that home run. That ball was still smashed. that doesn't make it any less of him raking against the Cubs. Like,
Is Kobe still doing his low-key hating?
I mean, yeah. Speaking of hating, so Rico.
Yeah.
So he sends me a TikTok yesterday, and you know how we're like, hey, it doesn't. I think last week you and I were having this conversation with somebody. They're like, hey, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. We're like, well, how much does it cost to be an a-hole? Right?
Yeah.
So he sends me this TikTok of it goes, this guy's just talking. He's like, it doesn't cost me anything to be a hater. That's free. He goes, it might, and he goes on this diatribe about how, it actually costs the other guy something to be a hater. Maybe mess with his self-confidence. And I'm like, wait, Rico, are you calling me a hater?
Well, kinda.
Who am I hating against?
I don't know.
Dan Hurley.
Well, I'll give the show like 10 minutes and it'll be somebody. No question. Like you'll walk right into it.
Listen, just because I have a critical eye doesn't make me a hater.
Oh, is that what you call it? Is that what the kids call it these
critical
days?
Critical eye,
Dad, Timmy's got a critical eye.
Doesn't quite have the same flow as hater.
Yeah. I don't think that's what the kids say. Timmy's got a critical eye.
Kobe, I wasn't talking about whether or not it changed the game. I was talking about Shohei not pitching to Shohei because he's smashing you.
Oh my gosh.
Hitting it 420 instead of 421 does not mean he was smashing any less.
So is Kobe a Cubs fan or what's going on here? Kobe, are you a Cubs fan?
I think he's just being a contrarian. He's got a lot of like Amazing Daniel vibes right now.
Hey, my man JG, who's been rolling with me the whole time since he's been with Hurrdat Sports Live in the stream, he couldn't hear it either.
Yeah, I may have been the only one that could hear it.
Dude, how about my man Sadie just hating on me already? I'm surprised DB's camera works. I didn't want it to, believe me. I'm just telling you right now, the joke is this morning I didn't want to hear it at all. But nobody was going for that. Do you need to be able to see me to have a good show?
I mean, I think it helps. So I know like when you're talking and kind of what you're doing and if I need to like get your attention back or
well, that's unfortunate. Wait, why would you not have my attention?
Well, just if got distracted by a baseball game that's happening
or cats.
I'll say or anything else that's going on. Yeah, Potato pieced out. I don't know where he
I
went.
Can't believe you're a cat lady.
Well, listen, I wasn't. And my wife was like, hey, I want to get a cat. And I was like, okay, well, then you're going to take care of it. And then the cat likes me more. So it kind of became my cat.
Who dubbed the name Potato?
It kind of happened naturally. We couldn't figure out a name for the cat. And so we just called it Cat for a while.
How about Frumpy?
And then,
that's like Big Booty Trudy over there. What are you feeding that thing? Whole salmon?
I mean, he does get some wet cat food,
Ugh, makes me nauseous just pretend smelling it.
I mean, you can't. I'm not like sticking my nose in it, DB.
Like I do every time you don't win arguments. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. I got a question this morning early.
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts. And I can barely read it, so I have to screenshot it and blow it up because I'm fairly old. But I thought it was interesting.
You're young at heart.
You have no idea. So Andrew asked me. This is last night at 11:47. So apparently Andrew was doing some pondering.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Who do you think had the better 2-year career at Creighton, Nembhard or Ashworth? Who do you think was more valuable to their teams? Is most valuable the same as better career?"
That's it's not the same.
No, it's definitely not the same. And all bias aside, I think I may say Ashworth to both.
Better career and more valuable?
Yeah.
Definitely more valuable.
Certainly more yeah, I was going to say certainly more valuable.
Absolutely not a question that he's more valuable. Because they are borderline, not even borderline. They're non-functional without him on the floor basically the last 2 years.
That's a little bit. That's non-functional.
I mean, maybe high functioning, but like not. You know what I mean? Like they're
that would describe my personality. High functioning.
Like they're not a tournament team without Ashworth. They're not even. I don't know if they're an NIT team without Ashworth. Like that's a value is not in question. Now, if you want to say who was the better player, that's tough because they're very different, right? Nembhard's more of a playmaker. He's a little bit more dynamic in the passing sense. Wasn't nearly the shooter that Ashworth is. Right? So
okay.
Nembhard can break down the defense a little bit better off the dribble. But he doesn't keep them honest.
I don't know. I think relative to their schools, because I assume the question is Ryan being at Gonzaga too, not just his time at Creighton.
Well, he's had 2-year Creighton career, so I'm only taking Creighton
now
time.
I can't hear you. Hang on real quick, Ravi. Old DB is having a few problems.
Uh-oh.
My speaker, I want to go back to here. Okay, say something now, Ravi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I wonder what I'm doing on this end. Huh.
I don't even know.
No, I'll figure it out later. But go ahead. What was your question to the career?
Well, so the way he's phrased it, I took it to mean just the 2 years they spent at Creighton.
Yeah.
So I'm not counting the Gonzaga Nembhard stuff, which has been really good. Now, again, level of competition is different, so that's hard. It's kind of an apples to oranges thing there. Same way I wouldn't take Utah State stuff for Stephen Ashworth, right? I'm not going to take the fact they shot 45% his last year at Utah State and count it for his Creighton stuff. Like, to me, those are different things just because you're talking about sort of different levels of competition. But I could see an argument for Nembhard being better while he was here in terms of just his overall play. But I do think it is pretty tricky because they're like pretty like fundamentally different types of point guards.
All right, I'll entertain it. I'll entertain it. You want to set up the show?
Yeah, we've got some. We're gonna do our best today. We're gonna have our regulars. We've of course got Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 at 8:00. At 8:30, we've got Kevin Sjuts from 1011 News in Lincoln, and then a first timer here on Hurrdat Sports Live, John Walker from the Omaha World-Herald covering Creighton. We'll see what he thinks of their matchup against Louisville coming up tomorrow.
Now, I like this guy from afar. I've only heard him a few times, but do you think he will? I mean, we're not going to try to scare him or anything, right? Did you just come out swinging, or like, what do you think?
So I'm going to try and be nice. I'll be honest. I've got a little bit of a messy history with John Walker.
Uh-oh, what happened? Is that why we haven't had him on? Because
no,
I think this was my idea. You didn't shoot me down.
No, I don't have a problem with him now. So here's the thing. So this is probably a little bit too much behind the scenes, but it's okay. So
I mean, we're all family. Do you not see how we fight?
That's true. So our dear friend Matt DeMarinis was up for that job at the same time that John Walker was. I think Matt DeMarinis is the best guy going in terms of covering Creighton, right? So any job he wants covering Creighton, I feel like he deserves.
All bias aside.
I mean, no, plenty of bias. I love Matt. He's a terrific human being and he's great at his job. So obviously there's some bias here. That's not John's fault that he got the job instead of Matt. And I probably wasn't as nice to him as I should have been. I wasn't like overtly mean, but I was a little snarky on Twitter a couple times. I'm sure that's a surprise to you. And that's been a couple years now.
You put the P in petty.
Yeah, I do. But so that's my, like, I was riding for my guy Matt. I took that out on John a little bit. Totally not his fault. He was up for a job. He wasn't the decision maker. I get it. But that's why at first I was a little hard on him.
Okay. Well, believe me, we won't be talking about that.
Yeah, no, just full disclosure. So I'm trying to make amends. I'm trying to make amends.
A little landscape of the Big East and some other things, because some guys are getting hired, man. And how about DeVries? I bet that was a whirlwind, having the world at your feet for about 72 hours.
So I want to know what happened with Iowa.
Yeah.
I
think maybe he looked at the guys in the portal and was like, wow.
So
he would have had a chance to win them back.
I have a guess. Because there was a report at some point during the day yesterday. I think it was Pete Thamel. I don't remember who. If it was somebody else, I apologize. But that specifically talked about Darren DeVries and the decision to go to West Virginia and the NIL component of that made him choose West Virginia.
Mm.
And the timing of it was around the same time that it came out, I believe also from Pete Thamel, that he was no longer a candidate at Iowa.
Wow.
So my little brain trying to put two and two together, I go, oh, I wonder if Iowa's basketball NIL isn't as buttoned up as DeVries wanted it to be.
Yeah. And
because it has to be,
and Indiana's is.
It has to be that he passed, right? There's no way Iowa was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that Iowa doesn't have the right guy, so it gives the opportunity for Sandiford to come to Nebraska.
Yeah, and Sandiford, Dix, if he gets in the portal, I would. Those are a couple guys that I would love to see play somewhere else because I actually like how they play.
Yeah,
I like them as players.
And let's not forget they have a fantastic point guard that is in the portal as well. So, and he shot Nebraska's eye out. So I'm sure Nebraska fans can quickly come to love. But at least Sandiford, well, Dix too, for that matter. You know, Nebraska was in on them both early, and they both played for ETG here locally, the Adidas team, and had a ton of eyeballs on those guys. That's when I got a chance to not travel with the family, but be on the road with the Sandiford family and get a chance to know them over the last year and a half. So that would be something that, because I can't remember who's our Twitter guy that keeps talking to us on Twitter about Nebraska's NIL. Is it Nebraska Talks or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
So he says he's not talking about local guys in the NIL market for the portal, but I'm trying to figure out what other guys is he talking about that he thought Nebraska had a realistic run at.
That they couldn't pay up for or whatever.
Yeah, because they did get Berkey, and there was a lot surrounding that.
There's some bidding for him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out who am I missing. Maybe Jan? I don't know. There's probably a guy or two I'm missing, but it's not enough evidence. I think to the contrary. So I would be curious. I'd be curious to know. But I mean, a guy like Sandiford helps you immediately, but he will have his fair share of suitors, as would a guy if he was in the portal like Josh Dix. So I mean, it's college basketball.
And I'm assuming Dix ends up in the portal just because of the change and everything like that. Who knows? Probably depends.
I know his family's is. I mean, kind of how his personality, his temperament is. That they don't. Doesn't seem like their style. It would have to be something pretty bad. I mean, that's a loyal to the soil, salt of the earth kind of family. It would. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he stayed, given how kind of what they believe in and how he's been raised. Yeah, I mean, everybody came after Josh coming out like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, but his team was good too, so that helped. But he didn't really team jump in the youth organizations. Like they're about loyalty. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out.
I guess I just wonder in situations like this, where does the loyalty lie? Was it to McCaffrey or was it to Iowa? Right, like. I don't really know, and you probably have a better idea.
They're on that side of the river, so I would assume Iowa.
Yeah,
but I don't.
I'm just saying that AL is a lot closer to Creighton than it is to Iowa City. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, all I'm saying. Tamper.
I don't work for Creighton. I can tamper all I want.
Yeah. Get your tamper game right, because as I'm trying to bring Sandiford to Nebraska.
Yeah, because listen, you guys can have Sandiford. I'll take Josh Dix, and we'll call it good.
Yeah, I got to stop saying Sandiford.
We'll just split it up like that.
Should probably say his name correctly. P.
Well, I saw Dix play a bunch at AL with our guy Isaacson.
Yeah,
over there, and so I was familiar with him when he was basically a freshman, because that dude could play right away.
Are you interested in anything early today for intrigue? You've been hating on Texas. You're a Big East honk. Are you nervous that you may have to put your money where your mouth is?
No,
just free Xavier, huh?
Well, listen, it doesn't matter if Texas wins or not. I don't think.
All right, so Xavier is a 2.5 point fave. I smell bad.
Yeah.
Nah, maybe.
Well, so here's my point though, is I don't think it matters if Xavier wins or not, because we all know Texas is capable.
Yeah.
Right. That's why the 15 losses is stupid. We know they're capable. So if you're capable and you can't figure out a way not to lose almost half your games, like, get out of my tournament. If you can't figure out a way to win more than 33% of your conference games, get out of my tournament. Just get gone. So it doesn't matter if Texas wins. My argument against Texas has nothing to do with their ability. It's their resume. It's just, get out of here. You didn't do enough. I'm sorry.
I've heard that before from you.
It's like the smart guy that gets like a 2.0 in college or high school or whatever. And it's like, well, listen, I know you're capable, but you didn't do what you needed to do.
Ravi here for compassion and action.
Like, I'm not saying you're an idiot. I'm saying you're ineligible. There's a difference.
Oh, enjoy that.
Listen, I know you've met a few of those.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
That's like, so have I. Like, you coach anybody for any amount of time.
Shoot,
like,
I used to be one of those. You talking about coach one of those? I used to be one of those.
Yeah, you and me both.
It's kind of how it goes down.
All right, let's take a quick break here, and we'll see how that goes. We're learning on the fly for everybody here. At some point, DB and I will be back, and we'll continue Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, weekend Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that. Give me that.
All right, here with Coach Crutchfield. You had to wait the whole entire selection show. Right. What were your emotions, nerves, nothing?
No,
because you knew you were in. But.
Yeah, the good part is you know you're in, but you don't know where you're going to go, who you're going to play. We kind of had an idea based on the last 3 days what Joe Lenardi had us at, and once the tournament field started shaping up, we kind of figured it was going to be a 15 with St. John's. So.
Yeah. What have you seen from St. John's? I mean, outside of maybe watching them on TV a little bit.
Well, I've watched a couple of games on TV, just when they played Creighton and other teams in the Big East, but haven't took a deep dive in yet, and we'll do that tonight and try to build a profile and see where we're at and how we stack up against them. But great team, tough, physical team, Hall of Fame coach who's won everywhere he's ever been. So it'd be a great challenge for our guys. I think our guys will rise to the challenge to be able to take that on.
I asked the guys about the potential of, when Bryant was named the 15 against Michigan State, there was a big, cuss word in the room, right? That would have been fun.
Well, we thought, they do like some storylines in the NCAA tournament. We thought that would be a storyline that they would possibly do, but
whatever.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah. Going to Rhode Island, obviously St. John's is going to have some fans, but this crowd today was pretty good to watch you guys just where you're going to go. So it sounds like some of these people are going to Providence with you.
Great turnout today. I'm shocked, but that just goes to show about Omaha, how much they like their sports, how much they've got behind this basketball team in the last 2 months, and it's been outstanding, and I couldn't be more happier with our fan support.
We've talked about this and throughout the year, but you've been building for this moment. When that name Omaha finally came up on the screen, outside of the initial, okay, we got to get a game plan together, but was there some excitement internally, or what were you thinking?
Well, this is the day that we all look forward to. This is the day that we mark on the calendar, Selection Sunday, and every team in the country wants to be active on this day, and we're one of the teams that are active, but that's what's the goal from day one, is to get to March Madness. When I took this job, that was the goal, is to get this program relevant and into the March Madness. So we've done it now, and we're going to go and try to play our butts off.
Okay, congrats. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
See you in Providence.
Thank you.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at not Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill because weather apparently. The DB, the thing yesterday, so I'm driving on the interstate a couple times. And it's like
that's just, is that a news flash or what are we doing with that?
No, so it's like 75 degrees outside, right? It's nice out, sunny.
You had the top down in the old Mercedes?
Yeah, I was, I let my hair flow a little bit out the window. And every one of those overpass signs is blizzard warning. And I'm just like, this feels so like it doesn't even make sense. It's 75 degrees. I've got the air conditioner on, and every sign I pass says blizzard warning on it. And I knew it was accurate. I knew it was coming, but there's just this disconnect in my head of like, oh, like we grilled outside last night. That was 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
And not like you grill outside when it's freezing out, like normal people when it's nice outside.
Well, so yesterday, we try to build the menu for the week or whatever. Yesterday, there's like this protein lavash.
Mm-hmm.
So I made myself just like a simple little breakfast pizza. It was like crumbled breakfast sausage, and I got some shoulder bacon from my buddy Brett, and whatever, simple. And as I was eating, looking outside, because the dining room table is kind of back by the deck, I was thinking, man, I should have shot my shot today and put something on the grill.
Yeah.
Like, knowing I won't probably do that again until I don't know. I'm gonna do that Packer, but I don't know. I feel like I wasted. I feel like I wasted a moment.
You're like Eminem. You only got one opportunity. Do not miss your chance.
Well, so I looked at the 7-day. It's okay, right? I saw anywhere from like 55 to 62.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get back out there.
Yeah, I mean,
it just won't be today.
You're resilient.
When I let the dogs out this morning, my kettle, my little one, the little black one, it's all the way down by the end of the deck, and I was like, to get that or not to get that? That is the question.
Are you like a move all the stuff off by your house when the wind's coming?
Historically, I'm that dude. I apologize, but I was not yesterday because I didn't assume any wins. I mean, I'm listening to Nebraska Pepperdine and Creighton and SDSU, and I'm like, how are we going blizzard today? Right? I'm listening to baseball, which by the way, glad both teams won. Tight one for Creighton.
Good to get those W's. Nebraska especially needed that.
Yeah, we'll probably wait it through this weekend, but we're going to get a couple baseball guys. We'll get Benny Mack back and early next week to kind of get an early season rundown on what's going on with Nebraska baseball.
Kobe's being
I know. I read it, a blizzard warning. Well, first of all, Kobe, okay.
Which Kobe the Yankees fan, which seems very on brand.
And he's just so he's consistent, so I can't get mad at him. So Kobe, I'm gonna full disclosure, I was not really paying attention to the terms and like what's coming. I just knew pending weather was coming. Stay my little brown behind inside this morning. Probably weren't going to come into work. That's all I knew. I wasn't aware of like wind and all of that, Kobe. I just thought rain and snow. Okay, lighten up on your boy.
Also, DB, I have to make an objection to something you said there.
That's fine.
Because somebody's consistent does not mean you can't get mad at them.
That's true, but I know what I'm dealing with.
Like, no, that's fine. You can know what you're dealing with, and that might be easier. Yeah. But if somebody, and I'm not talking about you specifically, Kobe, like if somebody is consistently a jerkwad.
What is that?
It's the word I'm using.
That is super Anglo. What is a jerkwad?
I don't know. If somebody's consistently a bad dude, if somebody's consistently a bad dude, you can be mad at him. It's okay.
Are you mad because he was arguing about the home run?
No, I'm really not even talking about Kobe. I'm just talking about like in general. If somebody's consistently a bad guy, you can be mad at him. It's okay.
Nah, you'd be all right. You'd be all right.
Like if somebody's consistently a bad dude, I'm most likely to be mad at them.
Yeah. I think Kobe means well.
I'm not talking about Kobe. I'm just bringing it.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
Young Ravi. His delivery right here, a blizzard warning implies that Shane, you can take that down anytime. I'm not that special. I can read. A blizzard warning implies that there's going to be wind, DB. That's the same as I deal with every morning with you.
Yeah.
When you'll say some word and you'll go, you know, that means, and then you'll do this thing. And I'm like, really? Really?
So DB, a derivative is
well, fired. What do you mean fired? You know, fired, like no longer employed. Like, yeah, man, I get it. I was just buying myself some time. Now he's on you about your cat. You're going to be so distracted the rest of this show.
Oh, I don't even care. Listen, I didn't think I was going to be a cat guy. I like potatoes the best. I love potato.
All hail potato.
He's a cool dude. He likes to ride around on my shoulders like a parrot.
So what are you expecting? Will people be stir crazy tomorrow and just be chomping at the bit to come hang out and watch Louisville and Creighton?
I think so. I think especially after being stuck inside today, I think people want to get out.
I didn't go to the grocery store yesterday, and I know you don't grocery shop. I wonder if the shelves were like, you know, all blizzardy.
So I do wonder, since it's supposed to be warm, like on either side of it, you know, since it was warm yesterday, it's going to be warm-ish again tomorrow, and it's not, hey, it's going to blizzard and then it's going to be 20 degrees or below for the next week. I wonder if people were still in like a rush.
Yeah.
Because like I think it's going to be pretty safe to get out tomorrow, is what it seems like.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as I know,
we'll be back at Hurrdat. You guys are laughing at me. I would have loved to have been snowed in with the kitchen at the sports bar. Just saying. You guys would have thanked me too.
I don't think you were kidding. I know you weren't kidding.
If they would have greenlit me to cook, I'd have had that thing, man. And we got good TVs.
What would you have cooked for us?
Certainly some sort of breakfast. I don't know. I probably would have made myself a burger. I would have made Shane tater tots because he loves Hurrdat's tater tots. May have gotten him some fish. I don't know about using some of the equipment though. I'd probably burn my face off.
I would say you gotta be careful with the fryers, man.
Yeah, that's not my baby either. Like
fryers are dicey.
I'm not good at that. I'm just gonna tell you 100%. Like that is. I know you're not gonna believe this, but I don't make very good fried chicken. It's just not my thing. What? I'm just saying. Well, you hit me with the grape and the watermelon joke yesterday. Let's not act like you didn't say that.
That was an off-air conversation, DB.
Was it? Oh, shoot. My bad.
So much
Are
for the
you
tree
sure?
Yeah, so much for the tree of trust.
That wasn't off air.
Yes, it was. It was after the show.
Oh, Costco. That's right. Oops. Sorry. Ravi's not really racist, guys. Sorry. Damn.
Hey, there's Ravi in the middle of the road. Let's run him over with this bus. Oh, we got him. Let's back it up.
Oh, sorry. I thought that. See, that's what happens.
It was AI. I don't know what happened. It was AI.
Now my eyes are watering. Oh, well, people will be mad at me too for taking it. Don't worry, I threw myself under the bus too.
Macy Daniel says at least he's consistent.
That's
funny.
Daniel, he's quick like that. That's why we vibe. Damn, Ravi. I am so sorry.
It's all right. I wasn't even gonna make a fried chicken joke.
All right, back to sports.
I was gonna say like fish at 10 o'clock in the morning doesn't sound like. Like I'm not a morning fish guy.
So what time did we shoot that promo? Shane probably ate about 11. It was probably about 11:45. That's cool.
Yeah, we got a little deeper into the day.
I gotta have that fish though, because I could eat a lot of those.
Oh yeah, it was good. I ate it when I got home. It was legit.
And it was good cold.
No, I warmed it up.
Oh, all right.
Other people use I know you have this thing with bringing things back up to temp or whatever, so you leave them out on the counter. Other people just put it in the fridge and then warm it back up.
Yeah, but you don't strike me as the type of person that knows how to do anything in the kitchen.
Oh, I'm pretty handy with a microwave.
Oh, and I certainly wouldn't put that fish in the microwave.
Dude, it didn't even smell.
That's a travesty.
It didn't even smell.
How'd you keep the crunch? Don't you have an air fryer?
Yeah, but it was still good. It still had the crunch.
Oh man, you reheated fish in the microwave.
Yeah, it was good. That's how good the fish was. Is it survived the microwave?
Okay.
Listen, man, if I can't reheat it in the microwave, I'm not eating it. Like I'm not getting stuff in the oven to reheat it. Now I will bust out a pizza pizzazz.
Oh man, I'm still mad over the C4 comment. I'm sorry. Oh man, the microwave sucks.
Listen,
I don't know.
It's not my favorite, but it is fastest. And so if I'm need to go,
I mean, I get it. I think I'm just traumatized because our microwave is never set on what it's supposed to be. Because I got people around here that don't know how to hit cancel off buttons.
I just let it go to zero. Just let it go to zero. How hard is it?
Again, that's what other normal people would do. Around here, that seems to be a foreign concept, though.
How hard is it? Just let it go to zero.
I don't know. I just can't believe you won't put anything in the oven.
Well, it takes.
You have an air fryer. It's the same thing.
No, but it takes too long. The air fryer takes 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
What if I'm hungry now?
Hey, listen, you need to control yourself.
Listen,
that's what you need to do.
I need to eat.
Hey,
if it's time to eat, I need to eat.
Hey, Wyatt asked me if you have any soy sauce jokes that he needs to know about. I should tell him what you were gonna say yesterday.
That was also off air. That does not need to be repeated on the air. DB.
We were just talking Dodgers Cubs, guys. Dodgers Cubs. Anyway, Ravi, I do have a question that I want to get to about this Iowa job.
Okay.
And I forgot what I was going to say because Wyatt made me laugh. Yes, Wyatt, there is something you should know about. I'll tell you later. There's just something about being at home that brings out my maturity.
Yeah, because we're usually so buttoned up.
Unlike the sports bar. Is there somebody that could get that job that would make you oh damn, kind of like what some of the other schools in the Big Ten said when Coach Rule was hired, oh boy, this is going to be one to watch. Is there that basketball guy at Iowa, or are you kind of removed because Nebraska hasn't been as competitive as we would like in hoops?
No, because I think it's a very similar spot where Nebraska and Iowa aren't that far apart from each other in hoops in terms of where I consider them in sort of the Big East hierarchy. To me, and maybe it's premature, but I do think McCollum is that guy. He worries me at a place like Iowa. That's a dude that, depending on who you talk to, some people consider him maybe the best basketball mind in the country. He's certainly in the top handful. He's one of the guys that coaches call to ask questions about coaching, strategically, at least, is from what I understand. So that's a guy that I would look at a place like Iowa, because especially if the NIL is not super buttoned up, a guy at a D2, a guy at Drake, who's probably not used to having all the resources, although I know Northwest Missouri State is balling for a D2. I get that. But you're probably not writing six-figure NIL checks is my point. And so a guy that's used to doing it without some of those things, I think, is pretty I think it's pretty dangerous at a place like Iowa. That's the kind of thing. And listen, I know Nebraska.
Well, I wasn't doing. I mean, I'm happy for D-Rock because I love him as a person, but I wasn't like doing cartwheels over him getting that job. I was kind of like, damn.
Yeah, now Indiana's gonna be good.
Yeah. Oh, they will.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
D-Rock definitely would have been that guy at Iowa too. That I'm like, crap. And he's certainly that guy at Indiana because D-Rock with resources is scary. But I think the same thing of McCollum because he doesn't need the resources to make Iowa good. That's the kind of guy that I would like. That's the kind of guy that I would like if Nebraska were to move on from Hoiberg. And I know they're not going to. I'm not saying they should. But if for whatever reason either Hoiberg says he's done or they move on at some point, I think in order to get over the perception, having a guy that like McCollum that doesn't need all the extra stuff to get them to the point where you are a desirable place to go. So the NIL then can kick in.
Yeah.
That's a guy that I would be like, if I'm Nebraska, that's the type of guy I'd look for.
And it does sound like the Swarm Collective has some work to do, right?
Yeah. I think so. And not just from the assumption I'm making off of the DeVries situation. But I think in general, Iowa's got some work to do, not just in basketball with their NIL stuff.
So what do you think he's waiting on, considering his name comes up every single year?
Who?
McCollum.
I'm guessing he's waiting for his tournament run to be done.
Oh.
Like that would.
You mean this year, as opposed to any other year he's winning national championships?
Well, I think there's a certain understanding of if you're talking about a D2 job to a D1 job that like that conversation is going to take place.
Yeah.
But I think being in the NCAA tournament, the Division I NCAA tournament has a different feel nationally that you probably want to respect. And he's taken a lot of his D2 guys on this ride with him. Like he certainly doesn't want to rob them of this opportunity that probably none of them thought they were going to have even a couple years ago.
So potential job. Oh, so he could wait a year too.
Oh, 100%. He waited a long time at Northwest Missouri State.
So, I mean, that's an option.
Let's not pretend like Drake was the first person to come calling. Like he waited for Drake.
Yeah.
He was waiting for the right job. Everybody for the last probably 4 or 5 years was looking at Ben McCollum for every mid-major job that came open in the country. And he waited on Drake because he knew you could win there. Because multiple different coaches of varying degrees of what I consider quality have won there, right? So to me, that was a super smart move from him. I think he's going to be really smart about where he moves on his next job as well. And because I think he looks at it like, I can win here as long as I need to, and then I can take the next job whenever. He's only 49 still.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have to go. I do wonder a lot if it's not McCollum where Iowa goes, because the list gets dramatically less sexy after that.
Well, it depends too, because the two hot names, well, a couple of the hot names that are going to always come up until they leave their respective places are going to be Huss and McCollum. So maybe there's a couple of jobs out there that those guys could sit around and wait on too. And maybe McCollum doesn't want to do anything outrageous.
Well, the other
I mean, Huss could be content where he's at because he's always going to have the best players. They're paying him ridiculously well. Like he may just chill.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I don't think Huss has to take a job this year either.
No, definitely.
But Huss is going to have opportunities for a while. And I do, I feel like we've forgotten about Villanova in all this.
Yeah. That's an interesting job. That's an interesting job, though.
It's a super interesting job, but it's also the team out of the ones we've talked about that has by far been the most successful recently.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see if that job was about the coach or the institution.
Yeah.
And I get what Raleigh did, right? But remember, that was a one-off.
And a long time ago.
So, you read the Collinsworth stuff, and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say clearly. It doesn't appear he wants to be at Northwestern at all. So
yeah, I think his agent's putting some work in because his name wasn't coming up a few years ago, and it all of a sudden is very involved.
The crazy thing is like they don't want to play in the postseason tournament. He's kind of had the outward. He said some things out loud about the condition of that university, and I'm just thinking he's already kind of doesn't enjoy being in the conference, apparently. So it's like if he wants out, I don't. If I'm Nova fan, I don't love that.
No, it's underwhelming for sure. It's an underwhelming hire. He makes some sense because he's got some experience with an academically rigorous institution. And I know a lot of times people will make that jump, make that comparison. But let's not forget that Jay Wright wasn't a super sexy name when he got hired.
Yeah.
It may be.
Hey, how fantastic is he in studio?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he's sick.
As I hated and I never really hated Nova the same way I do like a UConn or some of these other teams because I just always respected Jay Wright so much. He's like, I have more respect for him as a coach than probably most people. Like, I think he was unbelievable.
Than Jay Wright?
No, Jay Wright is unbelievable.
That's who you're talking about. You said more respect for him than most people?
Well, like I put him like he's almost like an all-timer to me in terms of his coaching. Okay.
There'd be a lot of people that would hang out in your room with, well, not that room with cats, but like there'd be a lot of people that would chill with my man Ravi over a Jay Wright love fest.
That's fair. Crecky's right too. His suit game was on point, which I appreciate.
But you know who from day one when he started working and going to shoot arounds and stuff covering the Big East, I think Baugh might be Jay Wright's biggest fan.
Yeah, I do remember him talking about how good Jay Wright was to him while he was learning and figuring stuff out and doing all that. So he does, but no, you're right. He's incredible in studio. He does a great job. I feel like you actually learn stuff, which is not always the case.
Yeah, and they pit him with Jalen Rose, who I like Jalen in a lot of areas. There's sometimes he drives me crazy. But I do think I got to be careful too, because I think there's something with on-air personalities and analysts in particular, where you have to you're paying for the personality, like whatever it is. So you have to let that thing ride. But sometimes I just want to tell Jalen, I just want to just turn it down just a little, just turn it down a little. But his barber is fantastic. I do know that.
It's tough when you see like the inside the NBA guys, right? And like that's the secret sauce, and you go, hey, this is how you differentiate yourself from all these other kind of bland, studio shows. But it's also you can't replicate inside the NBA. That's why ESPN's paying TNT $1 billion for it, right? Like because they've been trying to fix it. They've been trying to do the NBA studio show on ESPN for years.
Dude, that's ludicrous.
They went through Jalen Rose and Stephen A. Smith and Bill Simmons and Magic Johnson and Michelle Beadle and whoever else, right? And they just couldn't ever figure it out. Like it's a super unique thing that they have.
Yeah, I'm ready for today, man. I wish these games started earlier. That's why I can't wait for tomorrow. I know Sasha was probably floored. She's like, hey, you want to do the whole meet and greet and come hang out with the group at the watch party? And I was like, yes. She probably looked at her phone twice, like, what? Early basketball on television with a lot of TVs. I'm probably gonna be in, and I'm gonna get fed. It's a little early for me to eat, but I'll have a nice to go. Don't you worry.
Well, you could wait it out a little bit too.
Oh, for sure. I only eat. I could wait forever.
To
be honest.
Hey, your Dodgers got the W.
I saw it. Shaking hands, baby. 6 runs on 7 hits. The Cubs got to be sick. How's that for total bags, baby?
Efficient.
And as the camera just continues to pan on Shohei, they got other players, you guys. Okay.
Yeah, they got like Roki Sasaki.
There he is, and him too.
Like Yamamoto.
They're overdoing it. Let's knock it off, guys.
They're literally only showing the Japanese players. Like I'm not exaggerating. They're only showing the Japanese players on Fox.
Careful, your Tourette's will kick in.
I'm not gonna say anything. I think it's time for a break, Shane.
And we'll be back. I think.
Give me that cheddar, weekend Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
We've got some exciting news here to elevate your March to the next level. Introducing Menu Madness here at Hurrdat Sports Bar. This isn't just any tournament. This is a bracket featuring 16 of our most popular food items, and you decide the winner each week when your favorite items go head to head. And here's the best part. When you vote, you're automatically signed up for our free loyalty program. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Hurrdat Sports Bar to watch your favorite team, the biggest games, and get those votes in for your favorite menu item today.
Hey, come down March 20th. That's Thursday, 11 to 4. You can hang out with these two guys. I don't know who they are. I'm Ravi, though. No, just kidding. We got DD, we got Kenny. We'll be here hanging out, watching March Madness, coming out with not just us three, but a good chunk of the Hurrdat Sports group. There's also going to be some great deals on food. Got happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. And for $9, I can't even believe that, $9, you can get an 8-inch, one-topping pizza and a 16-ounce cornhead lager here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You can just camp out here all day and watch your games. You'll be good to go.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We are joined now by our friend Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. What's up, BC?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
We are good. We're getting our BC game right. We're doing this kind of from our homes and trying to look presentable and still be funny at the same time. How about that?
It looks good. We're all on the same page then. We're all on the same level. I like that.
How's the weather?
It's all right. Just a minute before I came on, the lights flickered in my house. So let's hope that's not a sign of anything.
What's going on outside?
Looks fine to me. I haven't taken a big look. No. One of my dogs went out there and rolled around in it for about 5 minutes, so he thought it was fine.
So it's just so you're actually getting inclement weather. It's just not crazy.
We got a little on the ground, but it's not nuts. No, it's not nuts.
So maybe it's not coming.
And I shot an 83 yesterday, which I just wanted to throw out there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Had the rest. I mean, for me, it is like I played golf since I was 5 years old, and for the last 2 or 3 years, I've been shooting like 95s for some reason, and I've been frustrated as heck. But I had my rescue club dialed in yesterday, and now the snow is interrupting my momentum.
Yeah, no thanks.
So are you like that, BC? Like, is that a pretty, like, what's a normal round for you?
Well, I was stuck like in the 90s. I've played since I was 4, 5. And so I should be like a guy who shoots like high 70s, low 80s, I think, at this point in my life. And I was shooting like 97s last year, and I was about ready to quit the game. But my first 2 times out, I've been in the mid 80s. So let's hope this inclement weather doesn't get in the way. It's like the other team called a timeout on me when I was on an 11-0 run.
So wait, who are you better than Shafe?
I wouldn't say that. I beat him before, and then last year he thumped me pretty good. We only played once at Firethorn, and it was a rough day of golf for me, so he beat me.
Where does Brunts fall into this?
Brunts is good. Brunts is really good, and he only plays like 3 times a year since he had kids, and he's still really good. He can swing it.
He looks like a guy that
Brunts strikes me as the type of guy that could do geographical angles in his head, just looking into the vast sky. Oh, I could shape that shot. 90 degrees, bend it left, fade, drop it right there. Okay, hand me my club. Like I could see Brunts doing that in his head.
That might be true because that was not an exaggeration. He plays like twice a year, and he when I am with him, he'll shoot like an 80, 78, something like that. So and I'm not talking 9 holes. So he can play.
Maybe he's a secret golfer.
Yeah, maybe he's lying.
Maybe he's got like a little simulator in the basement. He's just
him. You never know.
That's why you guys should come up to the west side and utilize the Swede Center, man.
That's nice. If I had unlimited money, I wouldn't get a fancy car. I wouldn't do anything out of line. I would get a golf simulator though. That's ridiculous, and that's the one thing I would have.
Gosh, we all have our things. You know what I would do? I would buy like 4 cows and a couple of pigs. And I would have good meat. Like that's maybe a processing plant. I don't know. So we're just different. That's all. Like, the heck with the indoor facilities, man. I want good food.
So not a golf simulator.
Oh, Ravi, what would you get? A gym?
No, probably not anymore.
An in-home court?
Maybe if I could do like an in-home like tennis court, I'd probably do that. If I had like FU money. But no, I probably wouldn't do. I mean, I had the pretty legit home gym set up, but I don't really lift anymore. So,
You know what's funny? The alleged athlete of the 3 is the one that picked the least athletic thing.
I think you got all your athleting done back in the day. We still got some work to do.
I got to revisit my life goals.
You could have a golf simulator in the barn by your cows and do double duty.
Yeah, I'm interested. This is really dumb. This is the thing that Cooper and Bob make fun of me for. I just talk about random things sometimes, but I have a thing for like understanding livestock now over the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know why, because I don't think I would enjoy being around them, but I'm very interested in how to be good food. So that's kind of a thing. BC, are you all in on hoops right now? Are you lukewarm? Where are you?
Yeah, hopefully my mic's all right. I get a little something in my ear, so hopefully Shane's not complaining about me. But yeah, I am all in on the tournament. I won't leave my couch for the starting Thursday for 2 days.
Oh, nice. You have a cool spouse that won't turn their face upside down that you don't move? They just understand kind of that's what you do?
Oh, she might. But but sometimes you have to have that fight, like you have to say, this is what I'm going to do, and we'll see how it goes. We'll just play it out. And so that's my plan.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you have a winner?
I picked Auburn over Houston. I know they're on a skid kind of coming in, but I've said this on the show, I'm kind of against that. Like, I play the other angle when I think a team's maybe some people think they're slinking in, and I think no, it's perfect timing for them to flip the switch. So I actually had North Carolina in the Sweet 16 prior to even last night. Like, I thought, you know what, they're gonna go and they're gonna be on a mission. They got some dudes. They'll make a little run. We'll see if that's right or not. They got a tough one next, but so yeah, I have Auburn over Houston.
Okay. You know what? I'm off of Florida. I think I may go with Houston. I like both those teams in the finals, though. I really do.
Do you guys ever pick teams a little bit based on just like you'd like to see it, like you can get behind it? Like, I feel that way with Houston. I'm kind of at that point where I just like their brand of ball and how tough they are, and I'd love to see them grind it out all the way to the finals.
Yeah, I'm more petty than sentimental, so I'm going to pick against the team that I liked all year because now everybody likes them. So I was on the Florida hype train. Like, they just dusted Carolina off, and I'm like, God, this team is going to be built well, especially when they're healthy. I told Ravi, I said, man, we need to take a flyer on Florida. Like, these guys are going to be pretty good. Now everybody likes them, so I don't want them to win now. Like, that's how my adult mind works. So it's not that I'm – it's not
they're
that
legit,
I'm
man.
When they're playing well, they get buckets so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
Tennessee's a really good defensive basketball team, and they shredded them the other day. And it's like, I don't know, they have so much versatility, but I do. If Houston can stay out of foul trouble, I may pick Houston. I'll tell you. Ravi, when do our sheets have to be in? I saw the QR code thing.
Just 11 by Thursday is by the first game.
BC, I'll tell you at 10:56, man. I got nothing but winners.
Okay. All right.
So
I'm sure you'll be waiting with a bated breath.
Don't unveil your secrets before then.
All right, I got you.
BC, I kind of do. I don't know if it's the same thing as you, but I'll look at kind of coaches that I like, and I'll go, okay, Kelvin Sampson's probably too good of a coach not to have a national championship, right? Like, I'll look at him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how I'll go through things is like, like considering who I think this guy is as a coach, he probably needs to make a Final Four, or he probably needs to win a national championship. So I actually do have Houston in my final, but I don't have him winning it.
Yeah.
Is it pretty chalky, Ravi?
It is pretty chalky. You know what made me mad is so
Everything.
the other team. Well, yes, but because apparently I'm a hater. The other thing that
Wait, what's your term again?
Hater?
No, it's not hater. It's what's your term? It's I don't think the kids say that.
I've got a critical eye.
Yeah.
No, I really wanted to take Maryland far, but they run into Florida.
Yeah.
That made me so mad that they were in the same region, because there's a world in which I take Maryland into the Final Four, but they run into Florida, and I think Florida's better.
Anyway. All right, B. So we're a couple days out, right? It's been relatively quiet since spring ball. Can you embrace this from the media perspective that I think this is going to be pretty businessy going forward, right? Just football. You think we're ready to kind of make that adjustment?
I think so. By that you mean you don't think a lot's going to escape the walls? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just don't think there'll be a lot of, because this is just me. I've just heard probably 4 or 5 times since January about either something to the effect of just play ball, just get better, no curse, don't worry about outside noise, don't overhype things. I try not to overhype things. Like, I get the sense there's going to be this concerted effort to be pretty vanilla. I think chasing 3 came back to kind of bite them.
Yeah,
a little bit.
true.
And so it's just a feel that I get where I could, and I don't know anything, but I just think it's going to be about football.
That's fine.
I don't think the offseason national championship question helped either. So,
yeah, I don't think that. I could
hey,
tell that.
Did you like his response?
Actually, I did. I thought, you know what? You could tell he didn't like the question. And I like when a guy kind of shows that he didn't like the question, but still like what the actual quote was in print. If you print it out, fine. It was just a professional answer. So I always appreciate.
Yeah, because you can't see the.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be that way. We didn't used to have all these things on camera. So there used to be questions like that would happen. Like no one saw it until you was just like, oh, whatever, like you just see what was in print in the newspaper the next day. But no, I don't think he loved that question. And I think part of him is always like, this is just year 3 for me. I've done it a certain way. Like some of the stuff that's baggage of this university that's 10 years deep, and I think he understands that kind of goes with it, but it gets lumped into what they're trying to do when they've been here a much shorter time. And I would say that's one of those things. Although I do think the chasing 3 thing, I loved it.
Me too.
But I could see where you'd want to back that down now.
Yeah, but you see, I do kind of wonder, because they talked about chasing 3 as this, recruiting tool and this like outreach for the university and for the program and things like that. So I do wonder how much you think they'll try and walk the line of still having some things that appeal to the outside because they have to at a certain point, and how much it's going to be like, how do you keep it to football, but still have some sort of product out there that can appeal to people that you're trying to get interest in your program.
Yeah, that's a good point, Robbie. The thing that was about chasing 3 that drew attention to it was done at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually those things, are pretty mediocre or whatever. It's a 5-minute snippet. You got to give the people who put that together a lot of credit. That was like a legitimate, like, I can sit down on my couch and watch this show for 40 minutes, like, flip it on my TV. And it felt like that was a decent way to spend your time. And so I think actually the production value is what made it, to the point where some people say, well, that's a little much. It's actually just because it was done really well. But I'm with you. Like there's probably something where you want to get out the way you're operating and show recruits. And I do think it was a hit with recruits. I do think they looked at it and said, I like that kind of program. I like how they work certain guys that's going to appeal to. So there probably is a happy medium, but I can go with what Damon's saying, that it's all business probably. And, I personally am in that position where it's like when you write stuff, you're writing about individuals, it's usually positive at this time of year, and it does some kind feel like overhype, and you got to be a little careful with that too. So we're in that zone, danger zone.
What do you think? So we obviously offensive line is a little bit of an issue from a depth standpoint. You got the pups on D, you've got the youngins in the back end, you've got new wide receivers. Could I make the case to you that I think this is still about quarterback development for this team to get to where they want to be, or would you start someplace else?
No, absolutely, you can make that case. I mean, I think if we just want to go big right here, I mean, Dylan Raiola being very good this year means a lot to not just this season, but next season and how things play out. I mean, think about like the guys that he drew in, like Dane Key, who's played in the SEC and had success for 3 years. And Key talks about like when Raiola was one of the 10,000 text messages he got the first day he was in the portal, that stood out to him and that he was there on the whole trip. And that was the same way with like Jamal Banks last year, who played like 4 or 5 years. I think it was with Isaiah Hunter and Gilmore and those guys. So you've got a guy who, if he takes off to that next level and is really good and gives you a couple more wins with it, a few more wins, not only obvious is that good for 25, but next year, if it's just middling, it'll be interesting, like what we're talking about in December. I mean, isn't that it in a way?
Yeah, I could ride with that for sure, because I think we think the quarterback's going to be pretty good, and a lot of times we like quarterback storylines, we like quarterback battles, we talk quarterback. It's a quarterback driven sport, but so many things, so many other things, I think have to come together for Nebraska too.
Yes,
especially on the heels of, because how did the whole D line, him breaking down the D line thing, land with you when he was talking about appreciating Nash and Ty and Jamari and MJ? Was that like for you? Was it, oh yeah, those guys were pretty good, or hey, don't get used to that play that you saw last year. We're not there yet. Like how did you kind of parse through that? Because that part's huge.
I took it as he recognizes how big the challenge is to get back close to that, but also that he thinks it's possible. That's how I took that answer in brief. And I mean, I remember last fall walking out of a stadium after a tough road game for Nebraska, and Brunson and I were talking like, man, I hope they're not wasting this with Ty and Nash right now, because there's only, you always hear that phrase like get old, stay old. And they actually were that way on the D line last year, where you had these like 23-year-old guys. And it's not that's the difference this season. It's not the stay old thing. They're going to try to get old fat, like in a development off season, where you feel like,
that's a good way to put it,
by like, Nash is a good example 2 years ago. People forget, but like of August of would have been 23, I guess, there were questions about Nash, and like he was sort of a fringe depth guy up to that point. He played like 15 to 20 snaps, and on shows like this, we would talk about, can he be that guy, who goes and takes it up double that and is every down. And by like 4 games in, you felt like, okay, he can play really at a good level. And so that's what you're hoping for with your Van Pop. Keona Davis, I think, is a really fascinating guy to work with. Cam Lenhart, I think, probably didn't have the sophomore year some envisioned, but sometimes I do think there is something to be said for that guy who he was sort of the 5th or 6th guy previously, and it didn't quite happen. But now it's like, hey, you're one of the top 3 guys. I need you to be that, and that challenge, that not burden, but that thing you got to lift, you're up for it. He's like, oh, okay, I can lift that bar. And so we'll see if Cam can respond to that. If he can, I think he's one of the big wild cards over there.
Yeah, BC, it's kind of interesting because as we talk about getting old on that defensive line. I mean, the guys you mentioned, like Elijah Judy's pretty old. He's been around a while. Cam Lenhart's 3rd year in the program. Riley Van Poppel's 3rd year in the program. There's obviously you've got a couple transfers coming in that have played a decent amount of college ball as well. Like, I think some of these guys, because they aren't Ty and Nash, we forget that some of them are pretty seasoned, at least. I don't know how much experience they've got in terms of gameplay, although some of them do quite a bit. But like they're a little bit older than we think they are, right? Or it's sort of more than the perception seems.
Yeah, I mean, RVP's in his 3rd year, and that's sort of the year Rule always talks about for guys in the trenches, where it can, you do take that step, sort of like Nash did. So like I'm expecting that he's going to be pretty good, but it's like, what level of pretty good is it? There's other interesting guys. I don't know, Damon, is there somebody like that's like just not being talked about there that we're missing the boat on? Like
on the D line?
Yeah. Like I know Ochoa popped up in the bowl game, and Dylan Perrin and Mason Goldman and guys like that. And
I kind of like Mason. Lafotu is hurt.
Yep.
I do like Mason though. I think the players like Ochoa. That's probably everybody, BC, if I'm just kind of rattling them off in this empty space of mine.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they could get 1 or 2 of those guys to get to a level where you don't feel like there's much drop off between the 3 or 4 main names we talk about. I was disappointed when Jalen George was out for the spring, just because I was so curious about him, because he was one of the first guys they brought in on the portal visits in December, one of the first weekends at least. And so that told me something. And I just wondered what he would do this spring, but he's an important guy, a guy like him that you'd love to see take off. And, I don't know if Winari can catch it quickly as an end, if it's going to take another year of building or whatever, but a couple guys like that need to hit, and then you're feeling all right.
Ravi, not to steal your thunder, and I think this was on air, Ravi, but we were talking about Nwarne and yesterday, and it seems like, and maybe this is not wanting to overhype it, maybe this is we kind of know he has room to grow or whatever. I didn't play a ton at Missouri. We're a little reluctant to talk about the importance of kind of getting him. Do you think we're afraid that he won't be as good as advertised, that it's damaged goods, that we're jaded? He doesn't come up very much at all, especially when you compare him to guys like McCullough or even what's my guy from Idaho, Marshall.
Yeah.
On the defensive side, we've already penciled in a starter at linebacker. We don't talk about the young man from Missouri a ton.
Yeah. Maybe a little jaded. I do think I think we are willing to hype guys a little bit still, probably too much sometimes, but who are like McCulloughs and guys who have been around who are like seniors. And I do think the one thing where people backed it off some is with those younger players, with guys who, okay, he was a big star recruit, I get it, but let's see a few plays in the game before we jump up and down about him. I think that's good for him though.
Me too.
I think it's great.
And I think he needs Lincoln.
Yeah, and he's got a great cast around him. Like, he's got people that he's familiar with, and I think that can do a lot for him. But I think in a way, I wrote this the other day, but some of these portal additions we have spent the last couple months talking the most about, and that can be good for, like, say, a Ja'Cory Barney or somebody like that. Like, usually in years past, even from like December to March, Barney would have been a name brought up way more on shows and stuff like that. And he's not as much, I don't think, because we always go to, like, or at least I do, you'll go to Key, Hunter, Gilmore, and some of these new guys coming in. And I think that's fine for those guys, like, who are trying to have that sophomore surge instead of a slump. It's like, one, you get the fuel of, okay, everybody's kind of talking about this guy over here. I'm just going to put my head down and work. And you also don't get that, like, deal where it's just over the top with headlines about you where you rest on your laurels. So I think that could be beneficial. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a guy like Barney, but I think of a guy like Cortez Mills, who very easily in a class like this would be super highly thought of.
Exactly.
And just isn't getting the type of publicity. And again, maybe for the benefit that he would be if you didn't have this group of transfers coming in.
Yeah, that's a good point. The high school recruits are not. It was a really late, and this probably goes to show it. I just did a Super 6 and sleeper thing from the class that's like just now that I put on the site. And I mean, that's kind of connected with, we're so busy with like the portal thing and other stuff that it just wasn't quite the same commotion around the high school guys. And even on early signing day, if you think about the press conference, we were talking about everything else but a lot of the guys in the class because there are all these topics in the air. And again, maybe that works to their benefit, where it's not over the overkill about, like, you're expected to do this right away, or everybody, you see your name in print or said when you get in your car, and stuff like that. It's good. I think that can be kind of to Damon's first question, like, just business, for those guys coming in.
Interesting, because I saw where you had Malcolm. I think you had Malcolm Simpson at 3. Terry was at 4.
Maybe my bias. That could have been my bias.
Who was 6? Was it Parker?
I put Parker in there. I feel like it could have been one of like 5 or 6 guys that slotted in there. But I mean, he had 3,400 yards the last 2 years. He averaged double digits yards per carry. I know he's in a good program.
I love him.
Yeah.
I love him. I think Nebraska's in really good hands with Parker and Nelson if those guys stay healthy. So you don't have to defend it with me. And he's missing a year of tape too.
Yeah, I had 3 D linemen in my top 6. I had Simpson, who I think's an athletic freak, who I think was huge to hang on to. Tyson Terry, because I just believe, I know the injury he's got to get back from, and it's probably a red shirt, but he's going to, I think, give you steadiness at some point at least, and then maybe more. And then Cade Petrak, I think is
that guy's film is really, really good. I wish I could understand who he's playing against better.
Yeah, that's true.
But he plays. That's a violent, apparently mean-spirited kid.
You know what's really interesting? Rule has been asked a couple times about sort of Nebraska's main recruiting grounds, and then natural states come up. He always throws in there the Dakotas, and he talks about taking a couple guys, especially big people, is what he said, out of the Dakotas. Like he really believes
that
in
was
this.
a minute ago. How did you remember that? That's a good pull.
Well, I mean, I just wrote it yesterday, so but stuff like that, I do kind of try to file away in my brain. That's why sometimes other stuff I'll get asked and I have no idea because I only have so much bandwidth in my. It's not a lot up here. But I will remember something like, yeah, Matt Rule wants 2 or 3 guys from the Dakotas. Like that's for some reason up there with picking Houston in the championship game.
I feel like I feel like I'm out on an island, but people have to kind of understand my heart because I heard this about, I wasn't overly talkative about Malachi Coleman. I remember, and conspicuously, I left him off my Super 6, and that got a little pushback. Excuse me, but I feel like I have a guy like that this year that I need to see more. That a lot of people like, and I gotta see more from Dawson Merritt. And I think you had him. Was he 1 or 2?
I had him 1, and so I kind of went with.
I've got to see more from him because I think he's young in the football game.
Mm-hmm.
His body is extremely young, and he's coming off of an injury.
Mm-hmm.
So those things, I'm like, I want to watch this unfold before I say or think anything too crazy. But I feel like I'm way off on the perception, generally speaking, from most people. On Merritt.
Again, I think that's good. And he's out this spring, as you mentioned, with the injury, and maybe some of that can be a blessing in disguise. I don't want to go too far with that, but you don't get like that deal where it's like, oh, we didn't hear about Dawson Merritt. Why is his name not coming up in April? Like if some of those guys are out, just let them take it in, even if they're not on the field, and grow behind the scenes, grow your body and all that stuff. And so that's fair. Just because you're highly rated, like in the recruiting rankings,
and I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like right now, I feel like I'm kind of like Gilligan right now.
Well, a lot of people nod their head. I didn't try to do that, but a lot of people just nod their head and go like, okay, this guy's ranked here, he's ranked there, and you kind of go like that. I think Cortez Mills is going to be a dog. So
it's a competitive kid.
I almost had him 1. And I think him and Ja'Cory, same neighborhood, same exact vibe. Like when you interviewed him as recruits, like I'm going to go get this. There's nothing that I'm going to let stand in my way. And so don't be surprised if he makes some noise. I say that now as like someone who spent the first half of the show, like, let's not overtalk the freshman. But I do think Mills is a guy who's, going to be interesting to watch this offseason.
Hyper competitive. He's going to be a good quote machine too. I think he just likes playing.
Yeah, he is.
likes playing football.
Yeah, and so is Rocco's older guys. Rocco Spindler, I can't wait till he's like the post-game O-line quote for the whole season. I feel like he's going to be the guy that we request after every game. But
that's our guy, BC, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you again next week.
BC, we're always going to be buds if you got Carolina in the Sweet 16. If nothing else, man, I appreciate you You're taking care of my emotions.
Yeah, and congrats to your plucky Dodgers today.
Yeah, plucky. That's
Yeah.
number 2 of 94 on the season.
We'll see. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, V.
Make sure if you are out on the roads today, hopefully you're not, but if you are for whatever reason, please be careful. Make sure you are focused, eyes straight ahead, no distractions any day, but especially with these adverse road conditions. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Coming back here in just a little bit, we'll talk to our friend Kevin Sjuts, 1011 News in Lincoln.
We've got some exciting news here to elevate your March to the next level. Introducing Menu Madness here at Hurrdat Sports. This isn't just any tournament. This is a bracket featuring 16 of our most popular food items, and you decide the winner each week when your favorite items go head-to-head. And here's the best part. When you vote, you're automatically signed up for our free loyalty program. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Hurrdat Sports Bar to watch your favorite team, the biggest games, and get those votes in for your favorite menu item today.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla at our very own homes this morning. due to the weather, where we are now joined by our friend Kevin Sjuts from 1011 News in Lincoln. Kevin, rocking the Cubs gear despite the 0-2 start. Appreciate your persevering there for us.
Yeah, do you also appreciate me setting the alarm clock? This is not, TV guy time getting up at these hours.
We do, of course.
Wait, is this early for you, Kev?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, the 5 a.m. first pitch is early. That first, what was it, yesterday, I set the alarm for 4:50. And my son even said, because he had to get up for school, he's like, get me up too. It's like, you're nuts. But we got up, we watched the game, and, usually I'm up a few hours after that to help get the kids ready for school and all that stuff. But 5 a.m., that hurts.
So I'm joking. Everybody gives me a hard time as a Dodgers fan, even though there's been a lot of suffering. There's a lot of time between the COVID year and Kirk Gibson, right? But no boo-hoo for me. I joke that's like number 2 of 96 on the season in the win total. I get the eye roll, I know, but I do think, Kevin, the Cubs I think they're going to win the Central. Is that crazy?
Oh, okay.
Is that crazy?
No, it's not crazy. The Central's not very good. Unless the Reds come out of nowhere.
I don't know about that.
Dude, the Reds are the wild card in the Central, I think, because they're young and
I think you're sleeping on the Cardinals. They're going to be good.
Nah, you're not going to see me on the Cardinals.
So you're the third Cub fan I brought the Cardinals up to. Twice in Lincoln during state. And I don't know if it's just because you guys don't like St. Louis that you can't entertain it, but you're 3 for 3. Everybody had the same response when I brought up the Cardinals. I'm like, you guys it's got to be the hate thing, right?
It's somewhere deep inside the blood of like, that's just a nasty team. We don't even give them a chance at the beginning of the year. But come like mid-August, we're probably going to say, yeah, they're pretty good. Goldschmidt's, he's all right. I don't know. The 2 games in Tokyo I know there's so many things at play. One, you're playing the best team in baseball. Like the Dodgers they're stupid good. And they're really fun to watch. And they did this without Betts and Freeman. So if they get those 2 guys back when they get back on American soil, like, all right, they're going to win 162 games. But like for me, the Cubs, it looks the same as last year. And that's the disappointing part for me. I don't like to be knee-jerk guy, but so far I don't see a whole lot different than what I saw last season.
I think you're selling them short.
I'm just waiting for the Reds to fully unleash Ellie De La Cruz on the country.
You know what some of it might be, though, Kevin? Full disclosure is I think baseball is a ton better when the Cubs are good. So maybe I'm kind of hoping for that, too.
It's the same argument that people have with college football, and college football is better when Nebraska's good. College football is better when Texas is good. Some of those big brands when Notre Dame is good. I think the same holds true for baseball and the Cubs and the Braves. The Braves are good. The Cubs are average.
I just hope the Braves can actually stay healthy. Their injury bug the last 3 years is kind of unprecedented, and they overcame it a couple years ago. But like that, I don't know that if they can stay healthy, that's again another team. Water's wet. That could be pretty fun to watch, especially because of the way they play.
Yeah, and you always hate it when like big pitchers go down for the season. So like the Yankees and Garrett Cole, even though I don't want to give too much sympathy toward the Yankees, but not having Garrett Cole, that just sucks for baseball because he is so dominant and he is so good. So when Spencer Strider went down last year for the Braves, that not only hurt the Braves, it hurt baseball, in my opinion, because he's such a talented young arm. And what they were still able to do last year, the Braves, is pretty remarkable. I just think that their ceiling is really high when they are really good. So sorry to indulge you guys into some MLB talk here this morning.
I love MLB. They picked up Profar. They got Schwelly in the rotation. I think if Grant Holmes is their 5th, the Braves, you're right, though. The key is probably Strider, but Profar's coming off a couple, that wasn't a bad stint tucked down there in the NL West. And you get a healthy Acuna, you're always going to have a chance, aren't you?
Absolutely. And we've got to mention here too, guys. My kids are home from school again today. I think this is 3 or possibly this is so crazy. I get the text from Shane the night before, like, hey, making sure. And every time I feel like My kids don't have school. I'm on your guys' show. So we should have known that the snow day was coming like well ahead of time here.
Is it currently snowing in Lincoln?
Not right now, but man,
I don't know if this thing is coming. I don't know.
What do you guys have right now?
It's bad. We got some wet, slushy stuff. It's not really accumulating on the concrete. I don't know. Maybe the next round is coming as the Tim strap. I don't know. Ravi's the meteorologist.
Well, we've got accumulation here. We've got about 1.5 inches, I would say, and the winds. You know, a couple of times because I was watching the Cubs game with the blinds closed. It just sounded like the house was going to blow over. It was gusty.
Yeah, earlier in our StreamYard for not knowing that winds were a high possibility when I was complaining about one of my grills being blown across the deck. One of our listeners let me know I need to pay more attention to the turbulence.
I'm just upset with Kevin because he said every team baseball's better when every big market team except Boston is good. So that's fine.
You're gonna be all right.
That's a bad omission. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
So what was the storyline? What were your takeaways from state basketball? I know teams didn't shoot it well, but there were some great games.
Well, I'll start with this. I thought the girls' tournament was fairly boring. The teams that we thought was going to won, and there weren't a whole lot of great games. My takeaway from boys' state basketball was it was highly entertaining. Of course, the highlight for me and for most of the people in the Lincoln area was Barrett Bosiger's three-quarters court buzzer beater, which was number 1 on SportsCenter. That was awesome. Scott winning B doesn't surprise me. Papio South doesn't surprise me, but I am shocked that Freeman didn't make the finals. And the fact that an 8 seed won it in Class C2 is pretty remarkable. So shout out Archbishop Bergen, because I don't think anybody had them picked. I mean, they weren't even ranked throughout the year. And not only did they beat Freeman in the first round, then they get to the finals and they play a pretty salty cross-county team, and they win that game. And they, they were pushed there in the second half, but they ended up prevailing. So I thought there was a lot that went to form in state basketball outside of Class C1, Class C2. C1, Lincoln Lutheran did not win it. Instead, it was Ashland Greenwood, but I guess we should have maybe seen that coming because they are so good when they get down to Lincoln. And then Bergen winning in C2.
Of all the years for Greenwood to get one, how about this one, though? Seemed kind of out of order, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the previous – so this is their third championship over the past 4 years. And I'll say the key to them, they are just so fundamentally sound. They're so well coached. And, man, they can defend. Landon Mose, the coach's son, when they beat Lincoln Lutheran in the semifinals, he had one job. And he would have had an excellent game. Could have been the MVP with 0 points. His goal was to guard Jacob Dutzman, and it was his shadow all game long. So I think that some of that is Landon's a pretty good defender, but more importantly, it's just a masterful game plan from that coaching staff, and they executed it. And those boys, I just love their story too. They shared with us that, we call them the Chipotle boys because that's how they have bonded throughout the year. Is that they all, after practice or throughout the week, they all go to Chipotle. And I don't know how you feed a basketball team that size. They probably run out of meat, how would you like to get in line after the Ashland Greenwood basketball team rolls through Chipotle?
They all do the Chipotle burrito hack. They probably got it down to a science.
Yeah, you bet.
Kevin, we appreciate the time as always. Hopefully next time we talk to you, your kids will actually be in school.
If they're not in school on March 26th, there is a problem. Because now we've got to cook breakfast. We got to take care of them. And, my youngest is begging for the Shohei skin in Fortnite. So I've got to battle that argument all morning long.
Parenting sucks.
This is a Cubs family. How dare you? Kevin.
Sore subject.
We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
You boys be well.
We're going to go straight from our guy, Kevin Sjuts from 1011 News in Lincoln, to John Walker from the Omaha World-Herald to talk a little Creighton. John, how are you this morning?
Man, I'm good. It's we're an hour ahead, so it's an earlier morning for me than usual. But everything's peachy out here. No snow in Lexington, Kentucky. Lexington, Nebraska, that might be a different story.
John, I'm pretty pumped, man. I get to hear you through other means, and we apologize in our delay of just utilizing your
That's all
talent.
right.
Listen, I'm pumped, man. I'm like I love the Big East. I like being able to kind of do this whole thing, and we'll get right to it since I know you're probably booked a ton, being right there on the spot.
I'm outside of Rupp. This is Rupp Arena.
Yeah,
so,
that is beautiful, and I like the fact you can multitask too. Look at you. See, I knew there was going to be a thing. I'm going to get to it right away. How rested are you, or do you think Creighton is or needs to be when you get to this stage of what Coach Mack's used to doing? You ran through the finals. It was an emotional game. It was packed at Madison Square Garden. The rotation is what it is at this stage. I've heard the argument sometimes you don't want to get to the finals, even though I think you always want to win it. Where are they, do you think, with their health and rest?
Yeah, one of the crazy things is it's not crazy because we all expected it, but I don't think I expected Greg McDermott to come out and say it as openly as he did. We talked to them when they got into Lexington last night. And he said, we're going to try and get all of our work done early Wednesday. We'll have an early morning practice, and then they have media and an open practice / shoot around for 40 minutes this morning. And then after that, they're going to go to the hotel and get off their feet, is what Max said, because, admittedly, they're still feeling the effects of making it to the final. And so that's like the balancing act. Is last year, guys, we knew that, okay, if this team doesn't go to the final, it would suck, sure. But they'll be okay. They're going to be a 3 seed on Selection Sunday. Like, we knew that last year. And it's not like they were sweating the bubble or anything. But we just knew that making it to the final meant, with a tightened rotation compared to a lot of teams, you were going to have to bounce back quicker than you wanted to. And that's exactly what it seems like is happening. It doesn't help that Fedor Zugic is dealing with that ankle sprain, because he's been crucial to the rotation off the bench through the latter half of the season. So all of that to say, they're still feeling New York on their legs for sure. And for a team that loves to get out and run, playing another team that loves to get out and run, that could undoubtedly have an effect on Thursday morning.
So I'm glad you brought up Fedor. Do we have any idea about the level of his health and that ankle?
I suspect he'll play. I really do. Mac told me on Saturday after the Big East final that he sprained it pretty good, but that they were going to rehab it this week. He was walking around yesterday in Omaha when they did their send-off. He was walking around last night when they arrived, and they have an open practice. So we'll know a little bit more here soon. But I just don't know if there's any way you could get to this point in the season and say, yeah, an ankle sprain is going to keep me from March Madness. Like, I just don't know if that's the type of guy Fedor Zugic is. So I suspect he'll play. I really do. In a limited capacity compared to what we usually see from him, probably. But half of Fedor Zugic is better than him sitting on the bench for 40 minutes.
Listen, as the resident ACC honk between the three of us, as a Carolina fan, see Louisville a ton, super close with Chucky. I look at the way that they play, three and a half guards at a time, undersized, can run and chase, switch all over the place. When you look at the matchup, if you had to give me an X factor of who that you need to emerge for Creighton that maybe is kind of under the radar, generally speaking, given the way Louisville likes to play, who's that going to be?
It's Jason Green, which, it's Bellevue West versus Millard North to play Auburn. Essentially. So, no, I think it's Jason Green. I won't dig too deep into it because we could talk about this matchup all day, but I think Jemiah is probably going to defend Chucky. I think, unless it's Steven, but I don't know.
You think Edwards Jr. takes Ashworth and not Chucky?
Yeah, I think Chucky probably takes Ashworth, to be honest. And I think they'll put the bigger body Edwards on Jemiah. to keep him from driving. Try and keep Jemiah in front of him, because that's when Jemiah is most lethal, is when he can get to the rim. And he excels at it. So I think they'll put Edwards on Jemiah and Chucky on Steven. How Creighton matches up defensively there, I'm not quite sure yet. And are they going to put Jemiah on Chucky so that Steven doesn't have to waste all his energy chasing him around? Like, I don't know. But I think it'd be Jason Green, just because of the attention that's going to be on Ryan Kalkbrenner and Jemiah Neal and Stephen Ashworth.
Could I convince you? I like the Green pool because I wouldn't have gone there right away, but I do like, especially given the way that Louisville has to rebound the basketball better. I don't mind the Green one. What about Jackson McAndrew for his length and his shot making? Because it's going to change the way he's the one guy that could probably change the way that Louisville will play handle ball screens.
Yeah.
But is it too? Do we know too much about how he plays to think he's going to be something different than what he has been?
Yeah, he's really like it's just kind of been a situation like Jackson McAndrew to this point in his career hasn't done anything that would shock anyone. He's mostly been a perimeter shooter. We all know that. He's put his back to the basket and put a couple of nifty moves on people at different points in the season. But to think that that's going to be the game plan, I would be out of my mind if I sat here and told you that Creighton's path to victory was letting Jackson McAndrew post everyone up for 40 minutes. Yeah. But no, he absolutely could, because he was an X factor in really all 3 games. I know they got blown out by St. John's, but he was kind of an X factor in all 3 games in New York. Because when he's hitting shots, it completely changes everything. Because how are you supposed to defend a pick and roll with Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbrenner and worry about 2 cutters with Jemiah and Jason? Oh, and if we sag into the paint to take all of that away at the same time, well, here's this 6'10" freshman who can shoot the lights out of a gym on any given day. So that's the tough thing. I think so. Like, it'll be one of those 2 for sure. Guys like Jackson, Jason, Fedor are probably going to determine how long the Cinderella keeps dancing. Not that they're a true Cinderella, but they're 9 seed.
Yeah. John, as you look at, I mean, it's really easy to just say, hey, as Ashworth and Kalkbrenner go, that's how Creighton goes. And usually that is how it ends up. But as you look at some of the shooting struggles that Ashworth had in New York and some of his struggles to get on track, like, how much of a level of concern do you have that may continue? Is that an aberration? You think it's accumulating fatigue? Like, how do you view Ashworth playing here this weekend?
I think it's a little bit of both, truthfully. Like, if you look at his splits on the year, he has not been the same shooter away from Omaha that he has been at the CHI Health Center. So it's a little bit of that. But then if you guys watch the St. John's game, like, he looked gassed. Like, that is not the Stephen Ashworth that we saw all season. And part of that is a lot of his game is off-ball movement. Like, he's been a really good distributor this year. He probably has more turnovers than he'd like. But I remember as far back as the Players Era Festival, Brian Dutcher, San Diego State's head coach, said, guys, he really is like Steph Curry. Like, he's relentless off ball. And you have to have somebody willing and able to chase him for 40 minutes. Otherwise, he's going to outrun you. And so that's been the case as far back then. And he has only gotten better at that as the year has gone on. Well, the problem is, guys, as I'm sure you know, when you do that for 5 months, game after game, and you do it for 3 games in 3 days, it's going to have an effect on you, no doubt. And so that kind of, to cap that, to wrap it around to how we kind of started the conversation, I'm sure he's feeling it on his legs just like everyone else is. Is that fatigue going to be too much for Creighton to overcome Thursday morning? I'm not sure, but they're going to be the first game televised, so the world will be watching to see if that's the case.
That's interesting too. I kind of liken some of his turnovers to Wolf at Michigan, where from a passing standpoint, they're always anticipating where guys are going to be. And sometimes when you play that kind of game with anticipatory and leading guys, those turnovers can rack up a little bit. But let me ask you something about the Big East in general, especially with Xavier and Texas tonight. When you're looking at the conference, its strength, watching these teams in and out, and you saw St. John's go 1 and Creighton 2, and then you look at the seed lines, and Louisville draws an 8. You could make the case that even though people had Creighton in the 8-9 area, the difference between them and St. John is startling on the seed lines. What do you look at? What are you looking for today? Is Xavier any sort of benchmark when you look at how the tournament may play out for how Big East teams are seeded?
I don't know if it's speak for the whole Big East because this time of year is genuinely about matchups. Like Auburn can match up with just about anybody, and they have the talent to do that. But for a team like Creighton especially, it's all about matchups, because if a team has a big like St. John's and somebody who can not cancel out, but it's slow down Ryan Kalkbrenner, or at least match his production, and say, hey, Jason Green's going to have to shoot 4 threes to beat us, and Jackson McAndrew is going to have to hit 4 threes to beat us, and those guys don't. Well, then you give up an 18-0 run to Tennessee in the Sweet 16. You know what I mean? Like, so it really is all about matchups. So I don't know if Xavier, in theory, beating Texas or losing to Texas would be like, man, see, we told you about the Big East. We told you. I think it depends on how it happened or what happened tonight, honestly. But no, I think those are the ACC and the Big East probably got a little disrespected in the seeding this year. Like, the ACC, by all metrics, was the weakest power conference. I get it, but its top teams were pretty darn good.
Yep.
And the same for the Big East. Like, this is a league that's home to the back-to-back national champs. So to say that's I know this year UConn isn't what it was, and maybe the league isn't what it was, but the floor of the Big East this year compared to a year ago is sky high.
It's just crazy that Louisville beat Clemson twice and their 4 seed lines better, or 3.
I know.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And like every metric, like Louisville's 10th in the country, guys. Like in the AP, what are we talking about? Like Louisville's 10th in the country. They're like 23rd in Ken Pom, like 19th in Bar Torvik, and they're an 8th seed somehow, some way.
Oh.
Make plenty of sense. John, we appreciate the time. Thank you for joining us.
Now, we'll be doing this again. Don't you worry. If you'll have it.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
All right, appreciate it, John.
From Rupp Arena. We appreciate it, John. Coming up next, we will get to more Hurrdat Sports Radio, and this weekend, Hurrdat Sports Live, and this weekend, you should be getting out to the Omaha Supernovas. Get to supernovas.com to get your ticket. That's for the 22nd. Make sure you get out there and support Omaha's Supernovas. Get out there, and we will be right back with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
Give me that cheddar, getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
We've got some exciting news here to elevate your March to the next level. Introducing Menu Madness here at Hurrdat Sports. This isn't just any tournament. This is a bracket featuring 16 of our most popular food items, and you decide the winner each week when your favorite items go head-to-head. And here's the best part. When you vote, you're automatically signed up for our free loyalty program.
So what are you waiting for? Head over to Hurrdat Sports Bar to watch your favorite team, the biggest games, and get those votes in for your favorite menu item today.
Hey, come down March 20th. That's Thursday, 11 to 4. You can hang out with these two guys. I don't know who they are. I'm Ravi, though. No, just kidding. We got DD, we got Kenny. We'll be here hanging out, watching March Madness, coming out with not just us three, but a good chunk of the Hurrdat Sports crew. There's also going to be some great deals on food. Got happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. And for $9, I can't even believe that, $9, you can get an 8-inch, one-topping pizza and a 16-ounce cornhead lager here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You can just camp out here all day and watch your games. You'll be good to go.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla, reminding you, even though it doesn't look or feel like spring out today, it is time to see if it's time to spring your financial goals into action. And one of the ways you can do that is getting a home equity loan or line of credit through Centris Federal Credit Union. Make sure you get over to centrisfcu.org to check out their different options, whether it's a line of credit, whether it's a loan, whatever you need to get those, tap into the equity in your home. Centris has you covered. Talk to one of their experts and see what's right for you. Federally insured by NCUA and an equal housing lender. It's centrisfcu.org. DB.
That's what the kids say, Ravi. Tap in.
Tap in?
Tap in.
They don't say critical eye?
I got your eye all right.
Hey, that's not very nice.
More of the Brown persuasion if you don't knock it off.
I don't want anything to do with that. No, thank you. I thought you'd be in a...
Where's your ding-dong pets?
So I need to go. They actually need to be let outside at some point. So next break, I probably need to do that. They might actually be bursting down here at some point and come say hi to me. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully they don't ruin the show.
Yeah, I haven't heard nary a peep at my place, so who knows what's going on up there.
Yeah, they've been pretty buttoned up here. I think it's so they won't go out in the rain. They will go out in snow. I don't know why.
Yeah, they're pretty good about just doing what they need to do and coming back. You know,
here's Doug.
Occasionally, Biggie will pee on the deck, with snow, but outside of that, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
so
Roggy's
David said they've got 3 inches in York, and it's not done. Wind's up to 40 miles. I can't hear the wind, but I am pretty thin-insulated in the basement down here. As you know, we're well below ground. So
yeah, you are. You got that tornado shelter down there.
So it's like I don't have any idea what's going on outside, to be honest.
Yeah, it's Doug's my only habitual deck peer when there's bad weather. Or not Doug, Roggy. Roggy will
habitual deck peer.
Roggy will drop a deuce on the deck in the snow, and it's like, bud, I have to clean that up later, right?
Scooping that thing off.
Man, yes, Alex, you did just see Doug. He gave me a little drive by here a second ago.
So how you think A-Train's feeling about the The win over SDSU. Not too high, not too low with Jay's baseball or what?
Listen, that a 1-0 game is right up Sindelar's alley. That's his sweet spot.
So I guess I could just ask him if he's in the stream. He's got to still be cheering for Hurrdat, right? Even though he struggled to start the season with Nebraska.
Yeah, I would imagine he's rooting for his guy. He's going to be on the call this weekend for Creighton baseball.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, I think he's going to come out and see us tomorrow too.
So the tie, Ravi, is my buddy Jeff, right? That I've been spending time with here lately.
Mm-hmm.
His wife's maiden name, she's a Hurrdat.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that's Aunt. That's Aunt Tammy.
There you go.
Yeah. So I cheer for those guys. I need him to start. We need Nebraska baseball to start getting going though.
So apparently Hurrdat is dead to Alex Sindelar.
Oh wow. Oh, so he's that guy. There are fans like that. I get it.
I love it.
I get it. He said, "Who is he?"
Does he play ball?
Wow.
Have you met Sindelar?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Like in passing?
Just not like, I feel like if he's not too crazy, that'd probably be a guy I could hang out with because I enjoy laughing. And you said he's funny in real life too, right?
Oh yeah, he's great. I think he's going to come hang out with us at the bar tomorrow.
So is he like going to go outside to smoke or what? Because I don't know how that would fly.
I mean, he's not gonna like blaze up inside.
No, I meant like if we're like hanging out, we just be like, hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go take a smoke break.
Oh yeah, he does. It's supernatural. He finds a lull in the conversation.
Oh no, man, it gets kind of squirrely. Tomorrow, I hope tomorrow's a good turnout. To be honest,
I do too. If you haven't heard it or made it out, make sure you come out to Hurrdat Sports Bar at La Vista tomorrow. Come hang out with me and DB and Kenny and the rest of the Hurrdat Sports crew. I think Rico's going to be
regular general public that wants to go watch Jay's Louisville. It's the first game. What are the odds?
I know. I kind of love it though.
I still think it's the best matchup of the first day of Thursday, Friday. When I look at matchups,
I agree. I like that it's, as somebody who's emotionally invested, I like that it's early and I can get the stress out of the way early and I can enjoy the rest of the day.
The only other better matchup, like on paper, but it's not as sexy as the names, is UC San Diego and Michigan.
That's what I was going to say because they're contrasting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
UC San Diego does some stuff that is hard for Michigan to deal with and leans into some of their weaknesses. That's part of the reason I like UC San Diego there. But that is a good matchup. That's the one I was going to say.
So other than that, I'll be curious to see what happens with Xavier in Texas. My eyes tell me that Xavier's the better team.
They're playing better right now, I think.
I don't know. I just think they're better.
Oh, DB, you there? Oh, I think we lost DB there for a second. Shane, let's take a quick break here, see if we can get DB back, and we'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny of those like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
We've got some exciting news here to elevate your March to the next level. Introducing Menu Madness here at Hurrdat Sports Bar. This isn't just any tournament. This is a bracket featuring 16 of our most popular food items, and you decide the winner each week when your favorite items go head to head. And here's the best part. When you vote, you're automatically signed up for our free loyalty program.
So what are you waiting for? Head over to Hurrdat Sports Bar to watch your favorite team, the biggest games, and get those votes in for your favorite menu item today.
Well, I'm back at least here on Hurrdat Sports Live. I think we've got a frozen DB again, so we'll just continue on and hope for the best. See if we can get DB back in the stream here in just a minute. But just a reminder, Amazing Daniel asked in the stream, there is a Hurrdat Sports Live bracket challenge. If you scan the QR code that's in the commercial breaks, or I put it out on my social media yesterday. There's a link and a QR code. It's the Hurrdat Sports Live group, and you can get there. There is a prize pack. It's $150 worth of stuff. Basically, you'll get $125 to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, as well as a print of your choice, a canvas print of your choice on a 10 by 20 deal of any of the pictures we've taken over the past year in our archive. So you can get that as well. So there are prizes and stuff to win there as well. Of course, bragging rights over DB and I as well. Yes, QB1 Ace. It is on ESPN. I'll tweet the link out. I can actually read. DB, you there?
I got you.
There we go. Yeah, we have a little technical difficulties here. I lost power there for a second, so I lost internet.
So did I.
And
I felt like
I
that
had
was
the lights flicker.
There.
I had the lights flicker go out on me, and so now I'm actually running this off of my hotspot on my cell phone. So
yeah,
we'll see if that works.
Yeah, actually, I am too.
Well, look at us.
But my TV, like, obviously you stream and everything like that, is back. Kinda. It's slow, but it's back.
Yeah, I'm not all the way back yet. My internet hasn't come back. My lights came right back on, but my internet hasn't kicked back in yet. So we'll see if the internet decides to rejoin me at some point.
Yeah,
Until then,
we call that a surge. I'm locking Xavier up. It's one of the locks, Ravi.
You're locking them up. You're locking them in.
I'm locking Xavier up. 2.5.
What is it about Xavier that you're feeling?
Better team, and I think I watched Texas too many times. Ill-advised shots. They turn the ball over. Now they're capable, like I said, but we are locking Xavier up.
Listen,
I only have 2 today, but I mean, if you're smart and you're kind of stacking, you're probably doing well tailing the plays.
Who's your other one?
I like FAU on the money line.
Ooh, FAU.
Yeah, buddy.
I like it. Buddy. All right. I prefer if Xavier wins. Obviously, Big East honk. I don't love Sean Miller, so I don't feel terribly strong about it. But I do need Texas to get got. I would appreciate that.
Well, yeah, because if they make any sort of run, you're gonna be like 15, get out of here. 15 losses, get out of here.
Yeah, deserving to be there and being capable are not the same thing. Listen, I've already started to pivot. I understand.
That's the edge. Yeah, that's the hedge. I get it. You're smart. Like you already know. It's like
I'm not going to allow myself to be painted into a corner unless I have to be.
yeah, it is. It's kind of hectic out right now, from what I'm gathering around the texting group around the neighborhood. Apparently,
Yeah.
it's again. I have no idea what's going on, but apparently it's not good. It's not good, Ravi.
Yeah, I can see a little bit of. I've got a little crack of a window next to me here, and we do have snow. It's actively snowing where I'm at.
Actively,
as opposed to passively snowing. But
what a whack doodle.
But yeah, we did lose power there for a second, so that's going to be interesting to see where we go there. But I'm glad I'm actually really impressed that both of us, in relatively short amount of time, figured out how to get our hotspots on and get back online here.
So I'm a hotspot king, just because when we fly,
I'll say when you travel, right?
I'm not one of those people that they love to give access to their hotspots. Although I think I may be in the tree of trust now going forward. But so I just use my phone's mobile hotspot while we're in the air.
Yeah, I don't know that you're supposed to do that.
Well, it's just a hotspot.
You're supposed to be in airplane mode, DB.
I don't even know anything about that, but when I do turn it on airplane mode and there is Wi-Fi on, and you use like United or South, whatever it is, I don't know how to set that up. Benny Mac usually does that for me.
I mean, that's not surprising.
Okay. It's fine.
Can I was listen to just full disclosure. I was stunned that you're on a hotspot right now and that you figured it out that fast. Like I was blown away.
Okay. It's not even necessary, to be honest. I'm not.
Is most of what I say necessary?
I was gonna say I'm not dumb.
No, I know.
At least all the time. Like I'll say some dumb things, but I
struggle
understand.
with technology a little bit. That's all.
True.
I mean.
That's true.
I think you're very smart in general, but everybody has their blind spots. I certainly do. I don't know how to cook anything at all.
There you go.
So like, we all have our blind spots, and technology is just kind of one of yours. It's okay.
Well, when you have smarter kids, I'm usually in a good spot. I can always ask, or, I can just hand you my phone and my laptop, which is what I normally do.
Hey, JP, fix my tweet deck.
You ever see anybody that's so cool with their phone? I just toss it to you. I'm like, hey,
that's true.
I try to show Shane stuff, and he's like afraid to hold it. I'm like, Shane, not everybody's as weird about their phone as you are, buddy. Like, you can hold it.
I mean, and not to throw Shane under the bus here since he's not talking today, but I've never
I kind of miss him.
I've never seen anyone in my life like hunt and peck on a phone keyboard the way Shane does.
Did you watch him text?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, how like really old people will do that on a keyboard on a computer?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
Like the one thing I've never seen someone do that on a phone before. It blows my mind.
So how are we doing? Are you feeling like you're up and running? You're doing pretty well?
I think so. I think we're good. Shane's back in the stream here, so I think we're cooking with some gas. I think we're doing okay.
God, I like how we kind of pivoted quickly and adjusted. I'm happy with myself.
I am too. I'm very impressed. I think we did great.
I forgot what we were supposed to be doing, but
we're just doing a show here. Can I ask you a Steelers question real quick?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Did you hear Cam Hayward yesterday?
Well, which part here, Ravi?
My favorite. What part do you think I liked?
Knowing Cam?
Knowing Cam and knowing me. Which part do you think I liked?
Well, he's pretty, as you gathered, he's pretty matter of fact.
Yep.
Fudge, there's kind of a lot in there. I'm surprised it hasn't been on the 4-letter networks a ton.
It was on their website. I haven't seen it on TV, but it was on their website.
I don't even you go to their website? What do you do on their website?
I look at scores there. If I'm on my laptop, that's usually where I go for my scoreboard.
I think you like the fact that he's not happy waiting on a guy, and that's not going to go over well if he decides to say yes.
Yeah, I like the hey, either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't.
Yeah, that's Cam Hayward. I'm just telling you, because he's seen them win with bad quarterbacks.
I also like the I'm not going on a darkness retreat. I don't need that crap.
It's like, well, and he said a lot, because just the quotes, it says Hayward was one of several team and organizational leaders who got on the phone with Russ back in March. He said, I told him, Pittsburgh, this is what Hayward said to Russ in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I told him, Pittsburgh, in the place for glitz and glamour, Hayward said, describing his pitch to Wilson. The Up and Adams show in July. This ain't L.A. It's not Atlanta. This is the place where gladiators come, and you have to compete every day. He was receptive to that because he wanted to compete. Like, that's the line, right? So that's why I don't worry. Now I'm probably a little more worried because of how Rodgers will. Like, I don't want there to already come in and be animosity. Although those guys are professional, and when they get there, hey, you're one of us now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they can forget about this little what are you waiting on period. But I keep telling you, the organization will correct itself. You don't have to worry about Aaron coming in there and being disruptive. It polices itself, as you can see.
Amazing Daniel says, give me Jameis or Russ at this point. We need to move on from this jackass. You're taking Rodgers over either of those guys, right?
I get Daniel's point, though.
No, I do too.
I get Daniel's point. I think I don't know. I think Rodgers is the better player of the three.
For sure.
And
I just wonder,
so for me, the hardest to root for.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis would be the hardest to root for sure.
Really?
I'm just not about it's funny when he's not on my team,
Sure.
know, the aloof interviews and him just being all happy about life. But I mean, the minute you hum a 80-mile-an-hour fastball into the dirt about 5 feet away from you trying to throw a speed out, I'm going to be pissed. And your interviews aren't going to be funny anymore. So Jameis would be the hardest to cheer for. Russ would be the easiest, and Rodgers would be in the middle. But from a talent standpoint, I want Rodgers.
QBA says Jameis is like a gunslinger without bullets.
Dude, I don't think he can't aim. Like,
no. It's not like he's like a gunslinger.
Do you remember the Denver-Cleveland game last year at the end of the season?
Oh yeah.
Like, what was that?
Listen,
you'd scored 2 trillion points, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, you went colorblind.
He got LASIK though. It's different now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, listen, as a guy who watches and likes a lot of Florida State football, I'm fully aware of the Jameis experience, and that was at his best. Like, I'm fully aware of the whole thing. I get it. That's not a guy I would want anything to do with in terms of like relying on him. If he's like, he'd be great backup quarterback energy where you just don't need him and he's there just for the vibes. Absolutely.
I can't believe Daniel would cheer for Jameis.
I mean, I'd have a hard time cheering for Aaron Rodgers, but my concern with Rodgers isn't that the organization can't keep him in line. It's that just nobody will want to be around him. Like, if your teammates just don't like you, that's tough in its own right.
But that's never been the case, though.
Sure, yeah.
What's team? Like, I think that's kind of a misnomer.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
You're right. I saw those Jets guys hug him at the end of the season and go over to the bench, and he wasn't sitting by himself now. Like,
yeah, you're right.
I think that's kind of a misnomer. I think the public doesn't like him. I don't know if the players don't.
That's fair. And if that's the case, then he's probably fine. Like he's certainly the best option that you have.
Hey, he pulled a Ravi and hit me with the low-hanging fruit. No, Daniel, I do not want to cheer for Mason Rudolph. I hate Mason Rudolph. He is not the answer.
You seem like a big Mason Rudolph guy.
Right. Is this pre or post getting hit in the head with a helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. I don't know, Mason.
Maybe Miles knocked some sense into him.
Oh, allegedly.
Can I just say, so I'm watching, and I think there's a larger point here, but maybe not. I've got like some pretty low level tennis on right now.
Yeah.
And it's the first round of some random tournament in Miami. There's like nobody in the stands. It looks like a high school, like a high school JV basketball game.
So certainly not Indian Wells.
No, Indian Wells is wrapped up now. These are some randos in Miami that I legit have never heard of these two women. And can I just say how startling it is, the difference in like body language and apparently mental makeup between watching this level of tennis and like really high level competitors, because there is like, they seem to be having a really hard time like recovering anytime something goes wrong.
Wow. Well, that's sports in general, though, to be honest.
That's why I bring it up. Like, because I don't think it's specific to this, but it's so obvious because you're only looking at one person, right?
Kobe is like drilling you today, by the way, Ravi.
He's just mad. It's fine. I also think it's funny that he's like, oh, cat guy, like it's some indictment. It's like, yeah, my cat's cool as hell. What do you want from me? And you know what's fun? Tennis. I love playing tennis. I love watching tennis. It's great.
Yeah, you'd get a tennis court. I'd get cows.
Absolutely,
and a couple of pigs.
I absolutely would. If I had like Bleep You money, yeah, I would definitely I'd put it in.
And I guess if I truly had Bleep You money, I could just get a guy to process it for me.
Yeah, you could just buy a ranch or whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't.
Cowboy DB.
No, but I do like being out in the open, kind of by myself.
Like in nature.
Yeah. So I don't want to.
You're not like going on hikes though, are you?
No, but I would like. I would sit by like some water and like listen to it run and stuff. I like animals.
Yeah.
We were out at our Crazy Friends the other night, and they have this huge open area back because they live way, way north, like north of 72nd and the interstate. And there was probably about 5 or 6 minutes where I just was listening to owls and coyotes. I couldn't see a thing. I mean, it was blacker than me, right? This was like, it was dark. It's probably 9:15 or so. And I'm just like, for a second, I lost myself in just hearing what was out there. And I was trying to decide what animals there were. I was like, ooh, that's a this, or ooh, I wonder what they look like when they're making, so I kind of went there in my head. So I'm capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I just don't know for how long.
Yeah, I don't.
You go ahead and build your indoor tennis court, though.
I don't know if I need to hear the wildlife around me. I'm not about that. I'm cool. I don't need that. I got all the wildlife I need to inside with all these dogs and the cat.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah. It's going to be all right. Shano, let's take a quick break here, and we'll be back with more Hurrdat Sports Live coming up.
Hey, come down March 20th. That's Thursday, 11 to 4. You can hang out with these two guys. I don't know who they are. I'm Ravi, though. No, just kidding. We got DD, we got Kenny. We'll be here hanging out, watching March Madness, coming out with not just us three, but a good chunk of the Hurrdat Sports crew. There's also going to be some great deals on food. Got happy hour from 3 to 6 p.m. And for $9, I can't even believe that, $9, you can get an 8-inch one-topping pizza and a 16-ounce cornhead lager here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You can just camp out here all day and watch your games. You'll be good to go.
as most people have seen, Outrunners helped Omaha men's basketball celebrate their 93-85 win over USD on February 22nd.
That trash can never stood a chance.
How did that relationship come to be?
Well, Turbo and I had been seeing the trash can festivities weeks prior, and we also saw them incorporating wrestling moves, knee drops, leg drops, elbow drops, body slams to these trash cans. And when we got the chance to get involved with that, that's something we couldn't have passed up.
Yeah, and you guys dropped your signature move on that trash can.
Yeah. The double elbow, bam! That trash can is long gone. The best part about it is that the Maverick basketball team, having gotten to know them and hang out with them, these kids have passion for the game, and it's the same kind of passion the Outrunners have, and so we get along very, very well. It's been awesome to see them do what they do, and also this city rally behind them. It's been awesome, especially as the new adopted sons of Omaha, the Outrunners.
Aspirations can drive us. Sometimes a simple gesture is what fuels the pursuit of a dream. When it's time to make your dream a reality, we are here to help. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Give me that cheddar, we getting Rico. Big bunny rolls like burritos. Give me that hot sauce, no pico. Give me that.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. What's up, DB? What you laughing about?
I'm just laughing at our stream. I don't know. No disrespect to you or Shane, but the stream might be the funniest part of the show.
I mean
that thing.
I don't disagree. They're pretty funny.
I have no idea what's going on in there half the time.
I know if you miss, like
Shane was trying to ban people, and then they're cool, and we got guys that'll call because they get called out. Like the stream is nuts.
We got a good group in there. QBAs might come visit us up in May. He said he might come out to the sports bar.
He's a former Northwest Husky. You know he's got some good in him. I don't know about living down in Arkansas, but to each.
Oh, is that where he's residing?
Yeah, he's in Arkansas. Yeah.
Speaking of QBs, your boy's picking up some offers over there at Westside.
Yes, Braylon Warren, absolutely. He's very, very, very talented.
He's cleaning up a little bit.
He is. Good kid. You know, he reminds me a lot of like the next transformation from Raiola and what Nebraska needs and his development and what we need from him, right? We got a lot of work to do in order to get to where we need to be, and he needs to get to where he needs to be. But from a talent standpoint, you can't really argue with it. He can spin it.
What without giving away the secret sauce here, like what's the next progression you're hoping to see from Braylon from last year to
so for him, he's got to be able to take control of the offense, right? It's going to be his junior year. He's got to have good command of it. He's got to get the ball out of his hands, right? We can't hold the ball. We can't take negative plays. We have to be able to transition and to giving him the keys, right? It was just his first year as a starter last year, and it's hard, right? And you're surrounded by all this stuff, and for him, we just have to make sure that the offense is built in such a way where he can take it and run and make it his own.
Yeah, there was I think the one thing, obviously I saw you guys a bunch last year. And the one thing that I noticed is probably, and not being in the offense and not knowing what you want him to do, there was a few times I'm like, oh man, just let it rip, just let it go.
Yep.
Like you think looks like he's got a guy, just like, hey, trust your eyes, trust your reads, just let it go. And I think honestly, like you mentioned, not totally different from what we saw from Rayola last year, right? Where there's times you're like, oh, you've got him, just let it go. Like,
yeah,
trust
where
the
they're
read,
so
trust the
careful with it
receiver.
that you don't want to make the mistake. Sometimes you just got to trust it and play ball. We can't take sacks. We don't really want, obviously the negative yardage and just commanding his guys. He's got a great running back. He's elite. He's got elite level wide receivers. We get good offensive line play. He's the cool thing about him is, we just did lifting. This is probably a month ago when I was up there charting their personal bests and stuff. And I mean, I watched him. He repped 385. He squatted 385 for 5 like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's getting after it as a
16-year-old.
16-year-old.
He is. He's and I've never really seen that side of him in the weight room. So I think as the maturation comes, the sky's definitely the limit because he does have a big right arm and he has been well taught.
I wonder a lot sometimes. It's probably different for almost everybody, right? But you talk about kind of the maturation process and when guys sort of figure it out and when it starts to click for different guys. Obviously, Braylon's still super young. Makes sense that he's still finding his way on who he's going to be and what type of person he's going to be. But like, you've done this a long time, whether it's talking about guys, whether it's having played with guys, whether it's having coached guys. Like, is there a point, and I know you give guys benefit of the doubt longer than most, but is there a point where you're like, if a guy hasn't figured it out, like in the NBA, the general rule of thumb is if whoever a guy is in his third or fourth year, that's who he's going to be.
Yeah.
Right. Is there a point? Probably not in high school, right? Because guys are so young that you kind of always think there's a chance. But as you're watching guys in college and stuff, there was some talk in the chat about Williams Nwaneri from Missouri, and about how, he sometimes struggles, or the rumor is sometimes he struggles to like stay locked in the way he needs to. Like, is there a point where you're like, hey, this guy just probably isn't going to figure it out?
Yeah, I just don't know when it is. I tell you, so that along the lines of him, and I remember Michael Rose-Ivy, and he posted on social media, and then we were kind of talking about it later. He might be a guy that we want to talk to.
Yeah.
And just about the talent in Kansas City and kind of Nebraska's impact there over the last handful of years, recruiting with Coach Rule. But, he said it was kind of innocuous too. He said Nebraska and Lincoln under Coach Rule is something that he could really benefit from at this stage of his career. And I didn't know if that meant he needed to get out of Missouri. He needed the leadership. He needed whatever he thought Coach Rule could bring to the table. He clearly understands the city of Lincoln. But I thought it was an interesting comment that he made about how he thinks this may be the ideal landing spot for him, given what went on in Columbia.
Yeah, and I wonder how much that has to do with
find that.
Yeah, and Michael's a really bright dude, and we used to talk to him a lot.
Yeah, he's super smart
back in the day. So I would definitely enjoy talking to him, especially about considering Nebraska's investment back into Kansas City and Missouri. But somebody brought up Mosey as a coach, right?
Yeah.
And how the impact he had on Nwaneri and high school and kind of that. I wonder how much of Michael's view on Nebraska being the right place has to do with
who they're surrounded themselves with.
Yeah, kind of the culture of Nebraska and Rule and everything else, and how much it is just like, hey, Mosey kind of gets this guy, he'll be able to help him fix it out.
Yeah, I'd be curious because I think, his development. I'm not going to go as far as to say poster child, but that would be a nice one to add on the development resume where you say, "Yep, this is on our watch."
That's one that might help the recruiting more than most.
Right. Poster child, highly thought of, high level, high ceiling. Sometimes developing those guys isn't always what it's cracked up to be.
It's hard. It can be hard.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Developing guys that haven't always been viewed as the guy is a lot easier. I think. Now, there may not be quite as much to work with in terms of just general physical tools, but if you're a guy that's been told he's that dude for most of his life, then all of a sudden you have to do something else to continue to be that dude. That's
so
challenging.
when they ran Hoke out at Michigan, or he ran himself out, or whatever, right? One of the things that he talked about, and he was kind of ahead of the game in terms of talking about coaching a different type of kid and kind of changing the landscape of what was happening at Michigan. And, the running joke was, oh man, he just wants to he can only coach 3-stars and this, that, and the other. And he's, he can't coach, a highly recruited, highly sought after kid. And I'm not saying all 4 and 5 stars are, they behave a certain way or they think a certain way. But Hoke was openly critical about, as we're continuing to blink and lose power. I'm just hoping it hangs in here.
12 more minutes, baby. We got it.
Oh, shoot. I still got to live? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough. You want your boy to be able to eat, be comfortable around here, don't you?
Of course.
He said 12 more minutes. It's always about the show, Ravi. But the thing about that is I think there's something to that. And coaches that can adapt to, it's not a new age kid, but it's definitely changed, right? And I think he would be a heck of a development story of, we got him out of the portal. We were highly ranked in our portal additions, at least on paper, as his top 10 portal class or whatever people are saying. Like, you need a couple of these guys where you can go and look and say, hey, under my watch, with our tutelage, this is what we can do, right? So hit it. Like, that'd be a heck of a story. But I do feel like
him and Pritchett too.
I think we're kind of afraid to talk about him.
We haven't talked like that. I just realized that the other day, right? Like, we haven't talked about him that much.
We brought him up to BC, and because I think he left. Well, the Super 6 I don't think included portal guys. I think it was just the high schoolers, if I remember looking at the list. But you're right. He has not been on in a lot of the conversations with guys around here, and I think this is a big year for him.
Yeah, I think with Nwaneri and with Pritchett, those are going to be the two big ones, right? Where if you can provide proof of concept of, and I know Pritchett had a little more success at Alabama than Nwaneri did, who just didn't play very much at Missouri. But I think you look at Pritchett, and there was a lot left to be desired, even though he started all last year. And if you can get those guys to reach their potential at Nebraska, as opposed to the places in Missouri and Alabama where they're at in the SEC and they weren't able to really figure it out, that would be like, I think that would be huge for their recruiting, number one. Number two, all of a sudden we're probably talking about a totally different thing in terms of what this team is capable of. Because if Nwaneri and Pritchett are dudes, that solves a lot of problems. Right? Like, it just does.
Yeah.
We're not talking about offensive line and tackles and depth and stuff like that anymore. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're good. And we're not talking about,
and then you can just cheer on. You can just cheer on Ty Robinson's career and Nash as their pros, as opposed to saying, "Wish we still had those guys." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you have to be able to move on from that.
Hey, we love Ty and Nash, but man, Nwaneri's killing it, and Cam Lenhart kind of found his steps again. Like, those two guys are going to be huge for Nebraska, not just this year, but in terms of the success of future recruiting classes as well, because it's the proof of concept is a big deal. I do wonder, you brought up kind of the different coaches, because it is a different skill set to coach a 3-star versus a 5-star.
Trust me. You want to go through Burke 05 to Northwest to North to West Side. Kids are different, right?
Coaching Christian Jones is different than coaching Bo Ryan, right?
1,000%.
It's different than coaching Cam Bell, is different than coaching Quentin Warren.
Yeah, coaching Quentin Warren is different than coaching Christian Jones, and they're in the same 30 feet space.
Right. Like, they're right next to each other.
By the way, Quentin Warren is unbelievable. I'm just telling you, like, I don't, we're going to work on this whole recruiting thing, but he is, goodness, is he a good football player.
This is not to take anything away from Christian Jones. The guy that always popped the most on that defense to me was Quentin Warren.
Yeah. He's a dude.
Always. Like I've been so impressed with him.
He's
So
a
I hope
dude.
he gets the attention recruiting wise that he deserves.
But wouldn't it be nice if we got to the point where we stopped talking about missing on Sue's dominance from a recruiting standpoint, and we lament over not having those guys versus we just say, oh, such and such, he's next. Or he's next, right? Man, Ty Robinson, you led the way. You did such and such with Nash to do this, that, and the other. Look at Keona and Williams and these guys. If you could get to that point, well, I mean, we're out here, right? Like that's where the magic happens. You know,
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up because
come here, buddy.
This is a very different example, but I had that I went through that experience as I started watching Creighton basketball when I was a kid, right? So like I remember distinctly, oh, what's up, buddy?
Say hi.
What's going on, big man?
That's the dude right here.
Yeah.
Aren't you? Give me a kiss. Thank you.
We love the pups. But like I distinctly remember, so this is like late 90s, right? I'm sitting there, I'm going, oh man, they're never going to be able to replace Rodney Buford, right? And I'm sitting there and I go, okay, and then like Ryan Sears comes along and you go, oh man, they're never going to be able to replace Ryan Sears. And I know some of these guys overlap, right? But then like Kyle Korver comes along and you're like, oh, they're definitely not going to be able to replace Kyle Korver, right? And then Nate Funk comes along and you're like, oh, they're definitely not going to be able to replace Nate Funk. And it just kept going and going and going, right? And now they did have a little struggle replacing Nate Funk for a little period there. The P. Allen Stinnett project didn't quite work out the way everybody wanted, but like there was always a next dude. And even when you go, oh, well, they're never going to be able to replace Doug. And it's like, well, not as a National Player of the Year guy, but then you get Mitch Ballack and Tyson Alexander, and all of a sudden like, oh yeah, they're pretty good again.
Let me ask you something. Real quick, because along those lines, right? We've talked a lot about the poster child for development and who you would use. If you're gonna do the portal thing and you're gonna get your 9-10 supplemental guys every year to enhance, would you rather have Pritchett or Williams be the success story? You only get one.
Yeah, I definitely want both. If I only get one, so I'm probably gonna go Winery.
I probably would too, because how many times are you gonna get high profile offensive linemen?
That's exactly
it. If you get one, maybe that's the catalyst, but it seems like it would be harder to replicate.
I also think just in general, fewer high-level offensive linemen are acquired through the portal, right? Like I think most of those guys, and this is anecdotal, right? But most of those guys, it seems like, hey, once you're good at a place as an offensive lineman, you kind of just chill there. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of high-level offensive linemen that enter the portal every year. Whereas you do get that with high-level pass rushers. Now they're super coveted and sought after, so they're hard to get, but there are more of them that enter the portal every year than there are offensive tackles. So I think in terms of benefit, it's more beneficial for Winery in the portal class next year and moving forward for him to be the poster child. Now it might be more beneficial for high school recruiting to see.
Well,
Pritchett
you definitely need Pritchett to be better earlier.
Yes.
Though, right? Because those are two different things.
For sure. If we're talking about impact on winning this year, it's probably Pritchett. If we're talking about long-term portal success, it's probably Winery. If you want to go long-term recruiting success in general, I might go back to Pritchett because I think Pritchett actually helps you land high school tackles.
Yeah.
More so than
Sanders, maybe we're apt to say, yeah. Although we'd probably have needed a couple more wins, but Sanders is probably more apt to say yes if there was something
he could point to him, like
that he could
first
look
rounder.
To.
Yeah, if he could point to Elijah Pritchett and say that guy went in the first round. He wasn't going to go in the first round at Alabama. He came to Nebraska, made that happen. Like Dave Sanders and what's the kid this year?
Cantwell.
Yes, Cantwell.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to say Brockett, and I was like, nope, that's the pitcher. I don't know what I'm doing here. Yes, Cantwell, the tackle this year. Like those guys, I feel like are a lot more likely to say yes with a Pritchett example. I think the next pass rusher in the in the portal is more likely to say yes with a Winery example. So
and you never know, man. Sanders Jr. may come back around again.
Yeah, and I certainly hope so. I certainly hope that becomes an opportunity for Nebraska, and that's why these guys are so important. It's not just about winning this year, although it is about winning this year. It's about continuing to be able to go get high level guys. That's a huge part of it.
All right, before we get out of here, I'm locking up FAU on the money line, and we're locking up Xavier. You got any?
Listen, I'm riding with Xavier for sure. That's a no doubter for me.
That's because you're anti-Texas.
Yeah, as Rico would call it, I'm a hater. Whatever. I'm gonna go Mount St. Mary's on the money line as well.
Not bad. They got American?
Yeah, they got American tonight. I want Mount St. Mary's on the money line and give me Xavier with the points.
What time does that tip? Is that the 5:40 Mount St. Mary's American?
Yeah, they're the 5:40, and then Xavier Texas is the 8:10, which will probably be like 8:30.
Yeah, gosh, that starts late.
That one, North Carolina started late yesterday. That was rough.
Who are you telling?
Well, you don't sleep anyway.
I wasn't going. Yeah, I was going to say I wasn't going to bed anyway.
I was going to say you don't sleep.
It's fine.
What do you care?
I got no problems, and then I got to get my bracket filled out, and we jump this thing off tomorrow.
That's right. Make sure you go check out. I'll have DB retweet it as well. But go follow us on social, on Twitter. I put out the link and the QR code for the bracket. Make sure you get in there. Make sure you join us. There's $150 worth of prizes, including a gift card to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. If you win the bracket, also you'll have bragging rights, which is a big deal. But make sure you can join us tomorrow as well for the opening round of games. We'll be at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill starting at 11 a.m. Anything else you want to tell the people, DB?
Well, but since mixed drinks is probably more your style, you can go and get one of those melon drinks that you like.
I haven't tried one of those yet.
Since you're a big melon guy. And then I'll split the burger and fish and chips with somebody. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
I don't see you as a splitting food with people type of guy, DB.
Depends.
That doesn't seem up your alley.
Are we sitting on the same side of the booth or not? I don't know. It's a coin toss.
Are we same siders? I might have to hit up that Reuben. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to Hurrdat Sports Live and come and hang out with us afterwards at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Check out the opening round. It's my favorite time of year, DB. Let's go.
We'll get it.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow.